These two grown men have never seen the Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? We're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
Don't carry me too far away. Oh, big old jet airliner, 'cause it's here that I got to stay.
These two grown men have never seen the Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of America's Barley Basket, episode 17. I am Marlin Wells. Alongside me, my ever-faithful companion, Nathan Fulsabach. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are ya?
You know, it's just kind of bittersweet. It's our last virtual podcast. But next week, it'll be you and I together in a studio.
Face
eye
to
eye,
face.
heart to heart, flesh to flesh.
I'm sorry, what was that last bit?
Heart to heart. Yeah,
okay,
it'll be,
that's what I thought.
Be good times of hands on each other's cheeks, feeling each other's pulses to see how we're doing.
Yeah, the breath on each other's neck napes. It's,
it's a real intimate affair.
Yeah, it's going to be real.
We're going to get really real.
Sweaty.
Lay it all
on
that table.
Yeah.
That table better be reinforced.
There's going to be a fog.
I just got that walking pneumonia for the last 7 years, don't I?
It's going to be a real husky boy fog just along the ground.
I think I remember a time it didn't hurt to breathe in deep. But it's been a minute. Get those crinkle sounds at the end all the time.
I had a friend of mine a few weeks ago tell me, while he was listening to an episode of ours, it was I believe it was the one where we were talking about typewriters and the poorly funded public school system I grew up in, and I had got to laughing so hard I had a coughing fit, and I had someone like with sincerity reach out and be like, "You doing okay?"
You still get like a physical, right? Like you got like a primary care doc.
You got insurance, right?
Yeah. I mean, family health, man. That's like $10. They'll do whatever you need.
I think that's strictly for lancing. That $10. Yeah. That's the $10 lance fee. That's really all that covers.
Just the electricity to keep that soldering iron going.
Yep. Come on by to Family Healthcare's boil budget and get it drained, baby. Get it drained.
We use the same one to cut you as we do to seal you up.
All one needle. Yeah. How do you think we do it for only $10?
Yeah. Whew, man, we're doing it. New season, new beginnings.
Hell yeah. Starting fresh.
Season 5 of The Simpsons.
There's something about when a new episode of our show corresponds with episode 1 of a new season that hits my OCD just right.
Yep, it does. I got a little bit of that. I think you get it more than I, but yeah, I know what you're putting out there. I kind of enjoy that too.
Yep.
It feels right.
It just feels good. Yep.
Yep. Season 5, I think that would have started the fall of 93 is what we're looking at here. And Simpsons are still a monster. Fall of 93, I was about to enter the 8th grade like a goddamn boss. Doing it. If by boss, I mean crippling anxiety and troubling self-esteem issues, I guess. I would have been a very young teenage boy, possibly the Nader of my childhood.
As in Ralph Nader?
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking.
Was it Nadir? How do you pronounce that word? I might have goofed that one. I'm really full of goofs today. I am just fucking Goofomatic 5000 over here.
You're just flying loose. I appreciate it.
Flying loose, yeah. Just wearing nothing but a sweatshirt on right now.
Oh, yeah?
Just you know what? King of the castle. Who's
Donald ducking it?
Yeah, Donald. Yeah, just a big, stretched out neck holes with one shoulder sticking out.
Just woke up today and was just in the mood to ruin a chair.
Thankfully, it's metal, so I can boil it in the vat. We take the hair off the hogs with.
throw this chair up on the scalding table, would you? Just run this through one time.
Oh, it's scalding table, not a metal band yet.
Oh man.
So yes, Simpsons still kicking ass and taking names. Probably has to be the biggest show on Fox ratings wise. I didn't look it up, but what the hell else would be? One thing I got to mention, season 5, the showrunner for season 5 was David Merkin.
Should I know who that is? Because I do not.
Let's concentrate more on that last name.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Merkin. Merkin, the man's name was.
That's an unfortunate name.
You ever had a little self-doubt in your physical appearance and purchase a Merkin?
I have not. I've never gotten that far.
Never got the mange? You're self-conscious about your pubic mound?
That's the other thing. I've never needed to.
Like your fucking Hollywood Wells. You're just bragging with that thick, luxurious bush.
Yeah, that's me bragging about it.
Well, some of us, we got some dead spots in there.
Little patches.
You got a first date. You really want I'm just picturing it like long, straight, like maybe flowing blonde hair, but not curly, like parted down the middle. Rubber bands around your waist. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What do you mean? It just said.
What, is something wrong?
Like. Yeah. Is something wrong, lady?
This makes your dick look like one of the Hemsworths. Thank you.
That looks like the oldest Hanson. Oh, good times. Yeah. So for the uninitiated, a merkin is a pubic wig. I think it was popular maybe like in the 18 or 1700s. Back when people still got mange and scabies and shit. Apparently you wanted a guy or a gal with a big full bush, and that wasn't always going to happen back then.
Right. So if you needed a product then to impress, like, I rubbed up on this coyote a little hard, and I got fucking scabies, and now I got a date tonight, so I need a.
Yeah, I got to go to ye old merkin shop.
Get me a fucking crotch to pay.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's old timey, so there was, but someone was fitting you for it, because there was no elastic back then, it was all made to wear.
Yeah,
they had to sew you into that merkin.
It was an investment, yeah. But by God, I bet you walked out of that shop and stepped up onto your horse with a little pep in your step.
Yeah. Unless they hadn't cleaned it to really spook your horse. They clearly used wolf hair for this merkin.
I think that fucking guy sold me a used one.
Buttercup's really agitated lately.
Shh, it's okay, girl. It's okay.
Oh, good times. One thing, too, season 5, The Simpsons, still on Thursday nights. I don't know. I thought the Thursday night thing was something that was over and done with quick. I thought The Simpsons was on Sundays for 99% of its run, but apparently we're season 5 and we're still on Thursday nights. So yeah, that was wild to me. That's something I did not know. We've always had so much fun discussing what show the Simpsons paired, what sitcom they would pair with the Simpsons. Yeah. Last time I think we had Martin. That wasn't as fun because Martin's actually a hit. It lasted 5 seasons or something like that. But have you looked at this yet, Marlin?
No, I haven't. You're the one who does the real research on this show.
Prepare for your heart to swell, Marlin, because in the 5th season, the 93-94 television season, The Simpsons was paired with The Sinbad Show.
Hell yeah.
A short-lived Sinbad sitcom.
I have never seen that, but pretty unironically fucking love Sinbad.
You tell the goddamn world what you feel about Sinbad.
Oh my God. So I have a deep connection to Sinbad. So when I was young, as we've discussed, no manner of television exposure or exposure to anything cool. Just grew up out in the prairie. I remember we got satellite television when I was probably 14, maybe 15 years old. And I remember being like, holy shit, look at all this. I'm watching wrestling. I'm watching music videos. And I come across Sinbad's Son of a Preacher Man stand-up comedy special on Comedy Central.
Oh, man, so good.
And I watched it and was blown away. Had never seen stand-up comedy before, didn't know what it was, didn't really know what I was watching, but loved that Sinbad special.
Oh,
and
man.
I remember going and looking ahead on the guide, and it was going to be on later, and I wanted to tape it with our VCR. So I remember going to my mom and being like, hey, can I tape this thing? And I'm like this giddy child. Well, like we said, I'm 14 or 15.
Yeah, so, I don't know. 2 bills by then, I would say. I'm a pretty large child.
Should have known. But, like, so I'm trying to explain to my mom, like, no, it's not like a movie. It's like he's just on stage, like, telling stories. And God bless my mother, knows what stand-up comedy is, obviously.
Exactly. Is alarmed that you don't.
But God bless her, she humors me like, oh, really? Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Sure, go ahead and record that. And I recorded Son of a Preacher Man by Sinbad later that night and proceeded to just wear that tape the fuck out. And then, and I went so far, like, I loved it so much, I had a, up in my room, I had a boombox with 2 tape decks and an audio in, so you could plug a mic into it. And I would sit in my room and do Sinbad's Son of a Preacher Man and record it onto cassette.
Holy shit. Sinbad would be equally touched and terrified by that story.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm a child doing Sinbad's Son of a Preacher Man. And not that it's like dirty or anything. It's just like,
oh no, that's the beauty of Sinbad.
What do I fucking know about anything that he's talking about? I'm up there, I'm in my room standing, talking into the microphone with his cadence and imitating his voice, doing jokes about Brill Cream. I don't know what Brill Cream is at 14.
Is Son of the Preacher Man with the bit with the single mom, Mr. Potty all the time, potty all the time. Well, we're going to potty. I am on board. We've discussed this before. I love Sinbad. I had a case one time where, like, I had a couple of roommates who were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Sinbad sucks. I'm like, motherfucker, sit down and prepare to be amazed. Yeah. And I don't know what streaming service I had, but there was like 2 Sinbad specials on it. And I tell you what, I chose the wrong one, man. I said, holy shit. I guess it's not, I don't know if he had the fucking flu or what was going on, but he did not look well and the jokes weren't good. But yeah, you get the right Sinbad and it is good. And again, clean too. And I'm usually skeptical of clean comedy, but he's so good at it. Yeah, he's
so good. And yeah, so I've always had a pretty deep connection to Sinbad because that was the first time like that I had never heard of stand-up comedy and then sat and watched an hour of it and was just blown away. And that was the first time I was like, holy shit, what is this?
It's funny.
And now here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yes.
You and I both do it. We both do it for tens of people paying $5s of dollars.
Yeah, it's good to be us.
All across the upper Midwest.
Occasionally get a pity drink bought for you. It's good to be in show business.
Yep. Hell yeah.
One fun fact, you know who had a recurring role on this show? A young Selma Hayek.
Oh, on Sinbad.
Yeah, on this, not on our podcast. You're like, oh, I missed that email.
Well, where was I?
Yeah, young Selma Hayek. What a glimpse into the erotic life of teenage Nathan. But I glazed a few knuckles to Selma Hayek in my day.
You were a fan?
Real talk. A fan of her work, yes.
Between her work on the Sinbad show and From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, and I think I almost missed this note. You know who else was on this show? A young Ray J. Brandy, R&B singer Brandy's brother, perhaps best known for probably like 10 years ago. He's with that fellow that stuffed that one Kardashian up real good.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I had forgotten about that. Also, what a phrasing for you to be using.
Yeah, stuffed her up so good. They recorded it. Like, hey, let's go get the camcorder. You're really fucking nailing this, man.
Well, it's much like this podcast. We were like, this deserves to be documented.
Yeah. Have you ever been stuffing so good you thought we need to get this recorded for posterity? Like, the world needs to see my stuffing skills.
Not fucking once.
Nope, I want that. I sometimes just want it. No one should leave that room. It's just, we're not in our best selves right now.
Ain't nobody need to see this.
Yeah. Well, but next, yeah, you ever make love on video, Marlin? That was a weird thing to type. I'm looking at my notes. Perhaps with a partner, question mark, or perhaps alone, question mark. Just spitballing Patreon ideas here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get that OnlyFans of ours set up, and
it is you naked trying to get out of a hammock. There is someone out there that would pay top dollar. God. then you get all twisted completely up, and it's oh God, he's gnawing at the ropes. He ain't ever getting out of that hammock.
Oh, he's been in it so long, he's got that checkerboard pattern on his body. Just angry red checkerboards. Oh fuck.
So.
How about you? You slamming on camera these days or what?
God, no. Just like I said, there should just be a button that just calls it an airstrike. It's like, no, none of us. We're gonna burn this bedding. Why not just destroy ourselves too? Just erase all memory of this.
I already turn all the photos to the wall. I'm not gonna put up a camera.
Oh man. Episode 1. There's a segue for you. Homer's Barbershop Quartet. So this one, I got to mention, season 5, they're not messing around with the couch gags. Did you notice that?
Good couch gags.
Yeah. Holy moly. This first one had like 3 different takes. Yeah.
Yeah, with the clapboard or whatever that thing's called.
You can just tell every season they get more and more carte blanche to do what they want. And this is a perfect example.
But yet in this episode, or in this batch of episodes, there's still a reused couch gag, the one with the chorus line and everything. So it's weird because they come out firing with this rad couch gag, and I don't remember if it's in the next episode or not. It
is, yeah.
But yeah, they use the chorus line one again. I'm like, I thought you guys were okay, whatever.
I think, sometimes it's just Fox being Fox. They probably had a rad one set up and then someone fucking spilled chili all over the goddamn floppy disks or something like that. I'm guessing they are like 95% interns still at this point.
I like the idea of someone's just having chili around all the animation cells, and every once in a while they just fuck some up.
Hey, that's too much chili on a paper plate. I got it. Oh, no.
No, I got room for cheese in here. I just got to stir it real careful. Oh, no.
Dennis. Why?
Well, get the chorus line one again. People seem to like that one. God damn it.
So this episode starts at a flea market. And oh, my God. I love a good flea market.
Oh, my God. My very first note says, I bet Nathan loves a flea market.
Dude, I love auction sales. I just love fucking trash. I just love people's shit. So, I'm a trash hoarder.
What is because I'm not convinced I've ever been to something like this, but what the fuck even is a flea market / swap meet? What does any of that mean?
See, I prefer rummage and or auction and or estate sales more than flea markets because I like
I've been to.
I like good deals on used shit. But swap meets, it's more the people watching and flea market because you'll get fucking, basically it's the people that are selling trinkets at a county fair when they're in between county fair seasons. Like, I got to put these fucking, I got some feathers and beads tied to a roach clip. I got to see if I can get $2 a pop for them.
So like I make fucking homemade jewelry but there's no, and I usually go to craft shows and street fairs.
Yeah, you make good lemon squares. Let's see if we can fucking sell some at the flea market. You fucking, whatever you can find you're good at. Or, hey, I just got a garage full of garbage that I don't want to haul to the dump. Maybe someone will pay me to take it.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is it also seems like a garage sale, but you had to haul it all somewhere first.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Or, yeah, maybe someone will want to buy these useless baseball cards from 1989 that are worth less than firewood. But hey, hope springs eternal at the flea market. But
maybe some idiot.
Yeah, me. That's what they're looking for. Me, this dopey motherfucker,
Nathan Fulsabach.
Yeah, I come from a long, proud line of hoarders, so it is coursing through my veins. My grandfather, at one point, owned 17 tractors and didn't farm. Just throw that out there. If you do not farm, usually you own 0 tractors, perhaps one, maybe one, but nope, 17. At one time owned like 70 cars. I think when we sold them, we got 10 grand for them. You do the math on that.
I mean, that's better than nothing, but it's not worth however much space 70 cars took up.
The gas alone to haul that from all those auctions.
Yeah, no shit.
It's a labor of love, Marlin.
Sure, it seems fucking bananas.
Having 3 abandoned lots full of Mercury Zephyrs. It's a labor of love.
I've never understood it. I'm someone who, and I was kind of raised this way, was taught if you don't use it, don't have it. So, like, get rid of shit you don't use. Always.
I just want side buildings full of trash, just like my grandpa had a garage full of so many old tires. There was a little motorcycle underneath that pile that I never was able to find. Think of that. That's a fuck like a tires to the fucking rafters. It's like the weirdest, like, Cracker Jack prize. There's a motorcycle in here.
And for what? Like the end. The story always ends the same way, which is, and then I died, and someone else had to deal with this shit.
That is always how that story ends.
I don't get it.
Yeah. And well, before we leave the swap meet, there is a great scene with Mr. Skinner. Or Principal Skinner. That man saw some shit.
Yes, he did.
2 years in a Viet Cong internment camp.
Yeah, and finds his old head bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, and then they kind of segue. I don't even know. I think they're on their way back, and they just have they're looking at records. That's how they get into it.
Yeah.
And Lisa notices a record with her dad on it, and I was going to say you can tell they're really getting to choose what they want to do. And Fox is kind of has hands up because it's 1993, and we have a fucking episode about a barbershop quartet. Jesus.
Also, as someone who is into vinyl, I have been to shitty places flipping through vinyl records that no one's ever heard of or wanted, and why, oh God, did anyone make this?
Yeah.
So I have definitely flipped through those milk crates.
Yeah. Here's 200 shitty Christmas records.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of local country artists you've never heard of, and neither has the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Blow the dust off these, you lucky so-and-so.
Yeah. So Lisa and Bart are obviously intrigued that their father had a music career that he never told them about. I think it was kind of when the kids were little, like Lisa was kind of a baby and Bart was more of a toddler. Does that sound about right? Mid-80s?
Yeah.
I think they
the story that we end up flashing back to is in 85.
Oh, okay, yeah. And the barbershop quartet consists of Homer, Principal Skinner, Apu, and originally Chief Wiggum.
Yeah.
And they kind of get popular, and some ponytailed record executive decides these boys are ready for their big time, but hey, you got to ditch Wiggum. He is the anchor holding you guys from stardom. So
I believe the agent says, it's just 2 village people, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, because he's in his cop uniform. And I love how they get rid of him is they drive him out into the country and leave him out there.
And just shoo him away.
Yeah, and he howls at the moon. Like, I love how silly this is getting. Like,
yep.
And they find out Barney has the voice of a goddamn angel. What is he looking for on the floor again in that
toothpick?
They dropped a toothpick in a bar bathroom. He's looking for his toothpick.
The men's room of a dive bar looking for a toothpick.
And
that would rank up there as far as worst things I've seen in a dive bar men's room. I once somewhere in my mid-20s, walked in on a friend of mine at maybe the grossest dive bar in Fargo at the time, doing a fat line of cocaine off the seat. Not the tank, but the seat.
Oh, boy.
Buddy, what are you doing? On a couple levels, what are you doing?
No.
Boy.
Oofda. That's not what we want.
That is... of all the surfaces in the whole world.
I had an uncle that went for big air on a New Year's Eve one time, got a little too drunk, and vomited his dentures into a toilet.
Oh, no.
And, dentures, that's $2,000. So you're not leaving there with a... So him, 0.25 drunk, disassembling a toilet at 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve to find his teeth.
Yikes.
And I do like that Chief Wiggum like makes a protest. He gets all these people to like scream to get him back, and there's all these signs. One of the signs, you probably noticed that Wiggum is God. That cracked me up. Jesus, this guy really likes barbershop quartets.
That's maybe my favorite thing about this whole episode is that you have to just accept the concession that people like barbershop quartet music.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Maybe my favorite thing about this whole episode.
Yeah. And then I love that they hear Barney sing and they immediately turn on Wiggum. Barney, they're cheering for Barney. And and then the song they record, I think Homer's inspired by the placard that Marge bought that says "Baby on Board."
Yeah,
she's like, maybe this will get people to stop rear-ending us.
Yeah, like intentionally hitting our car or whatever she says. Yep.
And creative spark, and they create a song called "Baby on Board," and it somehow becomes a huge smash hit. And kids can't get enough of the B. Is it the B flats or the B sharps?
The B sharps.
The B sharps. And they love it. They're just going nuts for it. I do like. There's an AM radio cup, and they're about to hear their song, I believe. And as Paul Harvey comes on for a moment.
Fuck yeah! Yeah. I have in all caps Paul Harvey.
Yeah. Now you know. The rest of the story. And then followed by the commodity prices at the top of the hour.
Yep. Soybean futures down 2 1/4.
Someone needs to know what pork bellies are up to. And because this episode's silly as shit, that gets the smash hit. They're kind of like a combination of like the Beatles, like a teen idol band, but also respected because they win a Grammy.
Yeah, we get a lot of Beatles jokes in for the rest of this episode.
Oh man, how much were the writing staff's boomer boners sticking out of their sweatpants when George Harrison came in to record his lines? You can just smell the fucking boomer in this one. Look at his shoe. Let's get David Crosby. He's we had him last season. We'll just make him do some more shit. Yeah, this is it. God, enough is enough.
Yeah, enough of the fucking Beatles.
The George Harrison shit just seems tacked on, too. Yeah. Because, again, they can do whatever they want.
They just wrote some lines just so he would come in, I think.
Yeah, so fucking ridiculous.
As someone I think we've mentioned before who doesn't care for the Beatles at all, I've never understood the appeal of the Beatles.
See, I get that I just haven't dived very deep into it, and then I have some songs I like, but I'm always disinclined to enjoy a band that doesn't go out and prove it on the road. Like they were in a touring band at the end. Like fucking Rolling Stones, man, they are in their early 90s and they're out there. Maybe the world doesn't want to see, but by God, they're out there fucking cranking out fucking Satisfaction to whoever wants to hear it.
Yeah, they could stay at home, especially now.
Yeah, I still want to see him once, man. I'm a fucking Stones guy. Definitely a Stones guy more than a Beatles guy.
I don't care for the Stones. You give me Paint It Black, and I'm pretty much done.
Oh man, someday I'm gonna have you trapped in a car driving across the barren wastelands of North Dakota to go tell fart jokes for minimal money. We're going to do a deep dive, brother.
See, I always heard it, not that you're a Beatles guy or a Stones guy. I always heard it, you're a Beatles guy or an Elvis guy. And I'm an Elvis guy, hands down. I adore the music of Elvis Aaron Presley.
Yeah, see, yeah. I mean, he's got some jams. It's All Right, Mama is such a killer.
Especially,
when that came out, that was like 55? Like, what? That was like going up against the Glenn Miller Orchestra for like teenagers. It's like, how kids are just ripping their fucking underwear off through their pants. Just dry humping everything.
Yeah, just grinding on whoever's next to them.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. And I like Elvis, you know, I like his music a ton, but I really like just like Elvis was the first rock star, you know what I mean? In terms of excess, no one did it like Elvis before Elvis.
Yeah, and a pedophile, right?
No,
pretty sure he's 30. Wife is what, 16?
There's some pretty problematic stuff with Priscilla for sure.
Maybe pedophile. Maybe that was sensationalism right there, Marlon. I'm trying to get viewers.
Yeah, that was all right. Clickbait, not a pedophile, but problematic for sure.
Clickbait full smoke.
Clickbait. Yeah, that's what we call him.
You shouldn't have to ask someone's mom for if they can go out on a date when you're a middle-aged man.
Right.
And Elvis, newsflash, bro. You can fuck anything you want.
Yeah, you're Elvis Presley.
No shit. And he wasn't fat, sad Elvis yet, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure he was maybe not in his prime. He was like making shitty movies Elvis, I think, when he met his last wife.
I believe he was past like the 68 comeback special. I could be wrong.
Was he?
I lose the timeline of Elvis pretty easily.
Yeah, back he wasn't like eating peanut butter and pill sandwiches yet.
Right, he wasn't shotgunning ham on the toilet just yet.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who listens to this and adores Elvis is screaming at his phone right now.
Yeah, it's just dabbing wet ham cold cuts into ground up powdered Quaaludes on the shitter.
He's got like a ham and pimento loaf, except it's Quaaludes and pain pills instead of pimento.
Got her under the vet, get some more fucking tranquilizers. The human ones don't do it for me anymore.
Yep. I need fresh drugs. I got some shotgun diarrhea on the horizon.
Oh man, but so yeah, they're the biggest thing, and then just like you can tell they just wanted to do the rock cautionary rock tale, like
the up and down.
Barney's the John Lennon. He marries a Yoko Ono type, and they make that new album or that new single. It's just Barney burping rhythmically and Yoko screaming incoherently. Is that kind of pretty much what we're going for?
God, I love that there's a Yoko and that it's Barney. Which makes Barney the Lennon in all this, which I think is doubly funny.
Yeah. And then, he is the talented one, so that makes sense, I guess.
That's true.
He's a troubled artist type. That explains the chronic alcoholism. And then they just realize Homer misses his family and he's had enough. And then they're just kind of done. Yeah,
everyone just kind of fizzles and goes back to their lives.
It's one of those flashback episodes. Like they didn't even realize he was gone. I think they had a chicken doing his job. Does that sound right?
Yes, at the power plant.
Yeah. Again, one of those flashback episodes. This one, I don't know.
I liked this one more than any other flashback episode.
Yeah. Still, for me, maybe the weakest of these 5. But again, I'm fucking laughing all the time. This show is so fucking good right now for laughs. Like,
I bet that if I was a bigger Beatles fan, I would like this episode more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that I didn't have to, hey, I like taking the notes, but it'd be nice to just go through these. If I wasn't a lazy son of a bitch, I would watch these just for pure enjoyment first and then go back through again and take notes.
Yeah, that might be the way to do it. Who has the time?
Man, I'm just going to say, Christ almighty, if I can brush my teeth, twice a week? We're doing good. Who's got time for this? I got time to lay on the couch for 4 hours and not do shit. Just stare at the ceiling. Plan my day around that.
I do there's a couple good jokes in here in this episode. So they're driving back from the swap meet, and the swap meet and everything around it is kind of the framing device for all the flashbacks. And they blow out a tire and send Marge to town. And there's a sign that says nearest gas 12 miles. And then when she gets back, there's a quick shot of like Homer telling the kids the story while Marge changes the tire. Yeah. It's like, God damn it, Homer, help.
That was an example of Homer's shittiness being like fun. Like, he's such a, like, sometimes I'm like, you son of a bitch, but this is, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Marge is trapped in a terrible marriage.
I think my favorite joke of the whole episode, though, it's during the flashback. So Bart is like young, not a toddler, but younger than we know Bart. And I think it's Marge asks where Bart is, and he's like, oh, I got him taken care of. And it cuts to down in the basement, Bart underneath an upturned clothes hamper with big rocks on top of it. Yeah. And he's clanging a tin cup against the bars like a prisoner.
Yeah, where did those rocks come from?
Where did Homer get these rocks to weigh down this hamper that he's entrapped his son in? Yeah, I thought that was a great visual joke.
Yeah,
and I like the animation on they do the Beatles rooftop thing at the end where the guys get back together for one last hoorah. And they sing a song on top of Moe's, which I liked that. I dug it looked good with the, wind blowing their hair and everything. I'm like, this looks cool.
And Chief Wiggum, still salty, ready to tear gas.
Yep, getting the tear gas ready. George Harrison drives by and rolls down his window and goes, it's been done, and drives off.
Fucking George Harrison stuff. It's like, we get it. You were born in the late 40s. Enough is enough.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wish I loved anything the way boomers love the Beatles.
Yeah, man. Oh, my God, yeah.
Like, I don't love podcasting or The Simpsons or anything.
Don't love myself. No, yeah. Oh, they easily love the Beatles more than I've ever loved myself.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I don't know if I'm setting the bar that high. I would have cracked that one open. Like this a fucking 3-hour podcast.
Oh, God. Episode 2 is Cape Fear, which is apparently a very well-regarded episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of lists. This one starts, they're watching TV, and McBain has a late-night talk show, apparently, called Up Late with McBain. And I immediately typed that into my phone as soon as it came up, and my autocorrect corrected it to Up Late with McCain. And then I laughed way harder at the idea of a John McCain late-night show.
Yeah.
Hey,
he hosted SNL once or twice. Maybe he got the bug.
Just the Maverick telling fucking cue card jokes,
reading monologue jokes. Yeah. This had to have been a play. They had to be kind of poking fun because right around this time was when Fox decided to have that fucking disastrous Chevy Chase late night talk show.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Oh, dude, we didn't have Fox. The reason we're doing this fucking podcast, but I remember seeing advertisements. They pushed because Chevy Chase is just a few years removed from being a pretty big Hollywood star, and they pushed it, and I guess it was fucking miserable, and they got rid of it. I don't know, maybe made it a couple 3 months. I'm guessing, but yeah, this had to be poking fun at that. Like it was just a nightmare from the word go, and which is shocking. Who would have ever thought that a talk show hosted by one of the most universally disliked Hollywood people would not do well?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, McBain,
bitter man.
McBain comes out and just starts like firing off gay jokes. You're like, what is even happening? And the crowd hates it, and the kids hate it.
And that weird old German announcer.
Yeah, it's very strange, but I did get a laugh out of it, and then got double the laughs at the idea of a John McCain talk show.
Yeah, double dipped it. Good for you. Man's got to indulge every once in a while.
Happy accident. Lisa gets a letter from her pen pal, and it takes a horrible turn halfway through the letter where she's talking about like, oh, but Lisa, this may be my last letter. The invading forces are staging a coup, and then in the middle it's just taken over by some general about how everything's fine. Signed, Little Girl, which I really thought was funny.
Yeah.
Bart starts getting death threats. He gets a letter written in blood that's just like, die, Bart, and I'm going to kill you. He gets all these,
a lot of them.
Yeah, he gets a lot of death threats for a 10-year-old boy.
You ever get an ominous letter or anything like that?
I have not. I don't believe I've ever gotten a true blue death threat.
I've gotten 2, not death threats, but very ominous letters.
2? What?
I'm a teenager and I got a car, 1988 Pontiac Sunbird. Beautiful ride. Probably cost $4,000 new, just the top of the line. And I went in, as you know very well, in a small town, your local Cenex station is the only fast food option because that's where you get the little hot stuffed pizzas.
We didn't even have that, but go ahead.
You probably heard stories from people that went on supply runs.
You know what they sold?
And they burned that man as a heretic.
You know what they sold at our gas station? Fucking gas.
Get a handful of tacks to chew on.
Right, yeah. Do you need gas or a tire fixed? What do you mean you want a Piccadilly's breakfast pizza? Get fucked, boy.
There's a picture of a framed Snickers bar on the
wall. For 20 cents, you can look at it.
Yeah. But in sprawling metropolises like Botman, North Dakota, we did have hot stuffed pizza. And me and a friend were inside enjoying one, and it was like a Sunday evening, like 6, 7 o'clock, just boring summer Sunday, just fucking enjoying some mass-produced pizza with a good friend. I come out to my car. Someone has written on the hood of my car in very large letters with a fucking pencil, "Thanks for hitting my car, asshole." Yeah. So insane.
Had you hit someone's car?
No, I mean, I drank a lot back then. Pretty sure a Pontiac Sunbird doesn't take an accident well.
Pretty sure you'd have noticed it.
Yeah. And it was so nicely written. And then there's a big flourish at the bottom, an asshole, this big line across the bottom. And God, I wish it would have been 3 years later. I probably would have owned a cell phone. I could have taken a picture of that. It's sad that. And then I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? You know what I did? I just erased it. How weird it is to have a pencil out erasing the hood of your car. I'm like, well, fuck, that's good. I'm glad I didn't key it.
Yeah, at least he didn't scratch it or anything.
Yeah. Fast forward roughly 10 years, I am in my mid to late 20s, working nights in a call center, so doing well.
Killing it.
And I would often drink until sunup with some of my other call center friends, and we wouldn't get there to their place till 2:33 in the morning. And I would always assume, hey, if a spot's open now, it's open for the next 3 hours. People are home on a Wednesday night by 2:33 in the morning, And usually it'd be that was the case. One time I come back to my car, still driving a Pontiac, now a Bonneville, because I'm moving up in the world. And there is a little note jammed between my door and the glass, the door glass, just perfectly snug. I pull it out in nice print letters, easy to read. It says, "If you ever park in my spot again, I'm going to start your fucking car on fire."
Holy shit.
I kept that note for so long, because Christ, did it crack me up. I should have probably been concerned, but you know what I never did? Parking that guy's spot.
It worked, yeah.
Because the calmness in which they wrote that really stuck with me. It's that wasn't bravado. He's just laying it out there. Hey, man, consider this a fucking warning. I could have just started your car on fire, but no. I'm a polite man.
And not hastily written, nicely printed.
No. Yeah.
There's something about a calm psychopath that is doubly terrifying.
Yeah. I made sure I never parked in that guy's spot again.
Man, you're living a level of life spice that I need to aspire to.
Life spice. I like that. a new fragrance for men.
Box, life spice.
Smells like pepperoni. That's the fucking point.
That's the spice. Shut up and wear it.
Get my dogs all worked up.
Oh, God. So Bart's getting all these death threats, and he's paranoid as all hell. The poor boy is on edge pretty much constantly. He bumps into Flanders, who has a Freddy Krueger glove that he's using to trim his hedges, and he kind of pops out from behind the bush and waves the razor fingers at him and says, "Say your prayers, Bart, because the schools can't make you like they should.
Yeah.
Which I wrote down verbatim and was like, well, that's a great line out of Flanders. Lisa is trying to help Bart figure out who it could possibly be, and she, and this is a proper deduction that I think is a viable path to investigate. She suggests maybe it's Moe, given all of the murderous talk that he has spewed at Bart over their prank calls. Yeah. And so she calls up Moe's and just says, like, I know it's you that's doing this, Moe. I need you to knock it off. And he, like, hastily hangs up the phone and goes and releases all the pandas that he's smuggling in the back room.
I have seen a clip of that scene, and I still laughed like an idiot. Holy shit, that was good.
God, I was fucking laughing.
Like, he was, like, ready for that call. Like, he was kind of worried, but he's like, he knew that day would come.
Yep, and was just ready, just like, oh, shit, I got to get rid of these pandas. Had an exit strategy.
On the way.
And just releases like 8 pandas out into the streets of Springfield.
That was good.
And it reminded me, boy howdy would I love a pet panda. That's my like obscenely rich guy thing, like fucking Nicolas Cage bought a T-Rex skull in an island. Yeah. I just want a panda. I want one panda bear.
Well, I don't want to change the subject too much, but, this is obviously a play on Cape Fear. Have you ever seen Cape Fear?
I never have.
The originals. Yeah, I've never seen the OG, I think like 1950s, but I've seen the one this is more based off of the
De Niro one?
Scorsese one from the early 90s. Yeah. Because it made me think I should see that movie again. I was like a kid when I saw it. Scorsese batting averages through the roof. And De Niro, creepy as always, really awesome in that role. And whatever happened to Nick Nolte? What did he do wrong? Why don't we have Nick Nolte in our life? He's a fucking amazing actor. We don't get Nick Nolte anymore.
I always liked Nick Nolte. And then somewhere along the lines, I know... Like, I think Nick Nolte is more known for that fucking god-awful mugshot than he is for any acting role.
That is very true. That guy, that's the mugshot of a man on a fucking, 11-day bender? That guy hasn't showered in ages.
Yep.
His hair looks laminated.
Yep, he hasn't been sober for 3 weeks at that point.
Holy. If you ever want to ruin an evening, watch the movie Affliction with Nick Nolte. Tremendous movie, but holy fuck, is that depressing?
I don't think I know Affliction.
James Colburn won a Best Supporting. Holy shit, what are we doing? Talking about James Colburn's late 90s Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
We don't get off topic. I don't know what people are talking about.
Jesus, but yeah, holy shit, is it good? But Christ almighty, is it depressing?
It was a product of the time, but boy, to go back and see how racist the 48 Hours movies are, like,
oh really? I bet
48 Hours and another 48 Hours, which is maybe the best sequel naming of all time. But Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy are in those movies together, and Nick Nolte plays a grizzled, hard-nosed, racist detective who gets new partner Eddie Murphy.
Who, if you're not aware, listeners, is black.
Yes. Nick Nolte, not black.
Yeah, he's very white.
And that's one of those where you watch it now and you're like, boy, howdy, this was a real film, huh? Okay.
Yeah. God, yeah.
I haven't seen those possibly in a while. My favorite Nick Nolte role, again, this is a Simpsons podcast, is Blue Chips with Shaquille O'Neal.
Somehow, I've never seen it.
What? Your boy Larry Bird's in that movie.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. There was a weird period in the early 90s where I saw like 3 movies over a 4-year span. I don't know what happened. I don't know if our VCR broke. We never went to town much.
Blue Chips, I can't recommend enough. It's a college basketball movie that delves into like how these asshole school programs pay for players, even though it's against all the rules. Nick Nolte plays a Bobby Knight type character, like hot-headed coach.
Real abrasive, but kind of runs a tight ship.
Yeah, Larry Bird's in it. Shaquille O'Neal is in it, doing some fine acting like he always does. The man made Kazam. He knows quality. Anthony Hardaway in there as well. It's a good-ass movie. What were we talking about? The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. You remember that?
My brain for a second went pandas, but it's Simpsons.
I'm gonna fucking take this right off the road back into the ditch again. There's a scene where Sideshow Bob is doing aerobics while watching TV. Maybe you got a satellite dish in time, but do you recall when basic cable that 40% of the channels showed aerobics for like 5 hours a day every morning? That used to be a thing. I always remember that. Like, I knew I'd stayed up too late watching TV when the aerobics would start. Like, oh no, people are waking up and I have not went to bed.
Oh no, exercise is on. Quick, shut it off.
Yeah. God, that was a huge thing. I'm sure it was just what does it cost to record people doing aerobics?
Right, yeah. And
cheap way to fill airtime.
And like this was right in the heart of like selling fucking VHS tapes of that shit too to people.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't know that it was ever just on television. Like, well, it kind of makes sense from a programming perspective. Like, I guess put on this fucking, I'm sure it's cheap to make, put it on the air and see if people want to wake up and do aerobics, I guess.
Yeah.
Although half of those viewers have to be old men jerking off to aerobics.
Yeah, trying to get that morning blast out before they got to catch the bus. You know, like,
just Western grip, topside. Finish one off before you kick out.
And 75% of morning blasts, a third of the way through, you realize this is a waste of fucking time. It's not going to be that. It's never that good in the morning. I don't know what it is.
Boy,
an AM blast, never the same as a PM blast.
Boy, you and I do not see eye to eye.
Really?
All.
I don't know.
A third. Those numbers.
I guess our blast clock is. What's your blast sign? It must be the opposite of mine.
I think you need to adjust what kind of aerobics you're watching in the morning.
Yeah.
You're not watching the good aerobics.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. If it's the cycles of the moon, if it's something to do with the tides, but
yeah, but your sleep schedule is so fucked anyway. You're not getting up in the mornings to begin with.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
I think I'm saying there's research needs to be done.
I think, the closer to the moon I am, is the better the blast. I think is how that works. I want to,
Jesus
when the moon is high, it's blasted time.
Well, now you have.
Why is that car hop rollerblading into those bushes? Just leave them be. You don't want to spook them. Come out, outfits a little bit. I'm way happier. Rollerblading a little quicker. Look at him do those pirouettes. That guy's really into this. It just destroyed an azalea bush.
Oh my god.
So the Simpsons.
I'm excited for stand-up comedy to be a thing again, so you can sell "It's Blasted Time" T-shirts. Whew.
Oh my.
So of course it turns out Sideshow Bob is the one sending Bart all of these death threats, which we knew. He's up for parole, and someone points out, well, you have Die Bart Die tattooed on your chest. He's like, no, it's German. It's D Bart D, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. Which should be the Bart
the Bart the.
Right? Yeah.
And because Germany has 3 fucking words for the, which is not that uncommon among Germanic languages, but anyway, it's fucking bonkers. One of the people on the parole board says, "Oh well, no one who speaks German could be an evil man," which
is nice.
I thought was real funny. Sideshow Bob gets out. They let him out on parole, and the Simpsons go into witness protection. Homer spends a lot of this episode after going into witness protection wearing a T-shirt that says "Witness Protection Program." Homer doesn't understand the name change. They changed his name to Homer Thompson, and then we go through a very long spell of Homer just not understanding that that's his new name.
I will stomp on your foot twice.
Yeah, it's just like what? Like
just say hello.
It's just brick, just stone face. Just what? I don't. which I thought was funny, but they maybe take that joke a little far.
Mm-hmm. I would say, yeah.
The Simpsons are driving out of town, and we see that Sideshow Bob has strapped himself to the undercarriage of their car, like laughing maniacally until like they start hitting a lot of speed bumps, and then they take the car off road through a cactus field.
Yeah.
So Bob has a rough go of it. We do a quick little thing where we do the Simpsons intro again, except it's the Thompsons.
The Thompsons, yeah. And, Terror Lake, is that the name of the town they moved to?
Terror Lake is where they moved to. There's a real weird bit that I really laughed at a lot because of how long it went, and I really love this in cartoons, but Sideshow Bob unstraps from the bottom of the car and then steps on rakes for 3 minutes straight.
I read something like this episode was written for like season 4, but some of those writers were like halfway out the door and they didn't have enough. It wasn't long enough. So they really packed in like that rake bit to stretch it out to the full length that they needed.
I believe that. Yeah, because he just...
And they,
first off, why are there a dozen rakes laying on the ground?
Yeah.
But yeah, he just keeps stepping on rakes over and over again, which is one of my favorite cartoon slapstick things. Like, as far as classic cartoon shit, you got stepping on a rake, you got, like, painting a tunnel on the side of a rock that someone runs into.
Yeah.
Rake, number one.
Yeah, running off a cliff and still running even though the ground isn't underneath you because you haven't realized you've ran off a cliff yet.
Yep,
that's a common one.
Not falling until you realize that you're not on solid ground.
And you turn into a sucker before you start falling, or perhaps a jackass. Yep. Or both of those being popular.
Putting fingers in a gun barrel and the gun exploding into the attacker's face. My favorite of all of those is the rake bit.
Yeah.
And I love
like the growl he lets out with each hit. Like,
yeah, he just growls at the rake. And it's the same audio every time.
Yep.
Like they clearly just replay this over and over again on a loop.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but then Bart is on the street, keeping a watchful eye. Then an old woman pulls up beside him, and underneath the car yet again, Sideshow Bob. And when she drives off and runs him over, it's so good. Yep. Like the muffler hits him right in the face.
Yeah, he catches a bit of the car right in the dome. And then an elephant parade goes over him.
Was it Terror Lake salutes Hannibal's trek through the Alps? That's what each of the skirting on those elephants read.
Yeah, what a weirdly specific parade to have. During that scene, Bart is on his way to school, and he has, and this is one of those things I wrote down, like, is this a real thing or only in cartoons and television shows? He doesn't have a backpack. He has a belt that the books are strapped into. You've seen that with the long tail?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's got to be like an old-timey thing.
Yeah, that's not a real thing. Nobody in the
90s had that.
No one has a book belt. If they did, it was in the fucking 40s.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like,
that belt was probably more used for domestic violence or corporal punishment, more likely.
We can't, no more backpacks. We got to send them to our boys over there. They're fighting the Kaiser. You just use your belt now. So I wrote that down. I was like, not real. Nope.
Not real.
Hopscotch and Christmas carols. It's not real.
Grown man sleeping hats for their pajamas.
Yes, also not real. Just on television. Old-timey bladed lawnmowers, not real. They cut back to the Simpsons' home. They didn't tell Abe that they were leaving, and he's like knocking on the door like, open up, you have my medicine. Yeah. It's getting cold.
There's wolves after me. God, yeah.
I was dying.
And I think it's this one too, later in the episode, we get Grandpa Simpson and Drag again. Been a lot of that lately. Yep. They really like dressing him up like a pretty lady.
Yep, that showed up again. So Sideshow Bob eventually gets onto their houseboat that they're living on and cuts it loose from the pier, so it's just kind of free drifting. And he takes after Bart. Bart tries to escape off the boat, but there's alligators and electric eels. And Bob finally gets him cornered and asks if he has any final requests. And Bart asks him, yeah, sure, can you do... He sees that Springfield is only like 15 miles away, and he's wants to buy himself some time, so he says, yeah, can you do the entire score of HMS Pinafore? And Bob is just like, yeah, very well, and does it. Just does the whole thing. Bart is sitting in a chair, eating popcorn, just taking this in, knowing that he's just buying time. And about the time Sideshow Bob wraps up his performance, they are at Springfield and the cops are there. I believe just drifted up to a cat house, and
they're all in robes.
Yeah, and Wiggum's like, "You're lucky you pulled up right to this whorehouse," or however he says it.
Like a Porky style whorehouse on the water.
Yep, out on the water. And so Bob is arrested and taken back in, and the Simpsons are able to go back home. And yes, when they get home, Abe is in drag again.
Getting courted by the bearded guy.
Yeah.
The bearded old guy. Yeah.
Not Jethro. I forget that character's name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's into it.
I'd say a very good episode, but it's redundant at this point. They're all very good episodes.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed a handful of, like I said, a couple of real solid jokes all the way through. I mean, they started off with that McBain joke, and I just didn't quit laughing the whole rest of the time.
Yeah, man. It's getting that point where it's like, yep, it's just consistent laughter.
Yep. I see why that one is so well liked.
Yep. And and anytime you get a real Sideshow Bob-centric episode, it's a treat, too.
Yeah.
Don't get that a whole lot, because Kelsey Grammer is a busy man at this point in his life.
Yeah, is Frasier on by now?
I would say we're right around that time. Really new, though, probably, maybe first season, but it's got to be right around there. Because I'm thinking Cheers went till about 92, 93. So I'm guessing, this is probably, we're looking about season 1 of Frasier. A show I've never really given much try to.
I remember seeing a handful of episodes here and there when I was young. Like, just enough to where I know the characters, Nigel and Dad or whatever
British
that character's name was. So maybe I don't know the show that well.
Sassy radio lady.
Yep. Dog. There's Dog.
Dog.
This episode, Cape Fear of The Simpsons with Kelsey Grammer, aired about 2 weeks after the premiere of Frasier.
Oh. There we go. Thanks, Wikipedia.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, the internet. I have said before, no fact checking on this show, but I will make an exception here and there.
Yeah. We're up to episode 3. Homer goes to college. Pretty neat intro gag here if you're a Monty Python fan.
Which I am.
Foot. Yeah, which I know you are. I knew you'd really enjoy that.
I was very happy to see the foot and the fart sound.
I bet there was a pleasant smile. Not going to make you laugh, but I get that reference. That warms me up a little bit inside.
I think I said, ha!
Yeah.
Like the one ha.
Pointed at it, looked around, realized you're alone, and just went back to watching TV.
Yeah, my cat stirred just a bit and was like, what? And went back to sleep.
So this one, Homer is shitty at work as always. Everyone's napping. They love a good nap.
Everyone's asleep.
From the owner down to the very bottom. And some people, I don't know what their title would be. Nuclear plant checkers,
inspectors,
people,
the
OSHA people, they come to check it out. Obviously, it's a goddamn gong show. There's a great scene where they have Homer sit in like a fake like kind of power plant like center where he's controlling everything, and they just want him as like a simulation of what he would do if there was like a containment issue. And he somehow caused like the bus that it's located in to melt into the ground. He's so bad at his job.
And the one inspector is like deeply rattled. Like, how did he even? There wasn't even any nuclear material on that. Like he's shaken.
It's like he's so bad at his job, it's reached like a mystical state.
Yep.
Like he's supernaturally bad at his job.
He's defying physics with how bad he is.
Yeah. So they tell Homer, because they're baffled that you have a man that does not have a college education doing a job like this. So they demand that Homer goes back. Does he have to pass? What class is it? Is it like Physics 101 or nuclear
he needs
physics?
Some manner of nuclear physics education.
It's some 101. It's an entry level, of course. That's far beyond his fucking grasp. He's a dope. So he has to go back to school. And Homer, again, he's a dope, so he just thinks it's going to be like Animal House. You know, what's he say? There's two types of kinds of people. There's jocks and there's nerds. And I'm a jock.
Yep. And it's my duty to give the nerds a hard time.
Yeah. Oh, I do like too when there's like a meeting with like government agents that like where they make the decision that Homer has to go to school. And God damn it, Mr. Burns tries to take that guy out with a baseball bat.
Yep.
It's so even with a baseball bat, he doesn't even hurt him. It's just like the bat rests on his head, and it's like, "What are you doing? Stand still! I'm thrashing you."
Yep, real feeble Mr. Burns.
You know how much I love feeble Burns.
Yep.
So Homer's in school. He's terrible at it, and everyone else is actually trying. He's got that giant, kind of like a bowl class of hundreds of people, and he laughs heartily when those papers get spilled. And I do like too when like the teacher makes that bad joke and they all laugh, because that was a thing. Like I used to get under my skin when kids would do that. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Have some goddamn self-respect.
Yeah, don't laugh at
this
that
dipshit's terrible jokes. Like,
yeah, it was out with the old and in with the nucleus, and the whole fucking lecture hall erupts.
Yeah, give me a fucking break. Like, I never cared enough to be a kiss ass. It's probably an indictment on me too. Like, that's too much work.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just take an F.
Yeah, fuck it.
They'll just keep taking my money. I'll take it next year.
Right? Yeah, I'll just keep paying for this class until eventually I pass it. But I'm not going to laugh at this fucking joke.
Yeah. I mean, I love how he's so against the dean, Homer, because he thinks it's all about the dean is the bane of all of his fucking problems. You know?
Even though they have like a cool dean.
Yeah, he does a bass solo.
Yep.
What the hell? Yeah. Was it the Pretenders he used to tour with?
It was either the Pretenders or the Proclaimers. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, you might be right. It was the Proclaimers. That sounds better. Yeah.
Yeah, just a cool dean.
It's mostly just being late for things. That's what college is you're always in a hurry. You're always kind of confused. Like, what was supposed to be done today?
College is game for me anyway. It's a game of sacrifices. Is sacrificing 6 hours of sleep tonight in order to study worth passing that college algebra exam tomorrow? Yeah. It's not, then I'm going to fucking bed.
Yeah. No shit. Yeah.
Is it worth missing out playing Halo 2 for 9 hours straight this weekend? Yep. No. So I'm playing Halo.
There's another part too where at some point Homer is parading around chanting, "I am so smart." I am so smart.
That's when he gets accepted into school and sets his GED on fire. Like, well, don't need this anymore.
Burns the house down. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a flashback.
And that is one of those that's one of those Simpsons things that I've heard of. I've heard I am so smart, SMRT, I am so smart, but had never seen it till now.
And I think, too, with this, the song kind of comes up in an earlier episode where Bart is like a toddler, but he's saying, "I am so great." Does that sound right? Where he's got the pots and pans?
Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know that they're related at all.
Interesting. Okay, maybe I'm just digging too deep.
Investigative reporter. I think you're too close to this case, Fulsabach.
And the kids, or Homer is terrible because he's a dumb piece of shit. So he eventually has to get tutoring. And the tutors are total dweebs. They're 3 computer nerds that all live in a dorm room together. And Homer is right away kind of crestfallen that he's now hanging out with the dorks, with the nerds. And he wants to be a jock. But then he tries to convince them to embrace what he thinks is the college experience, doing pranks and horsing around, to the point that they steal, I think it's A&Ms. I don't know if it's ever clearly defined what state it is, but it's just...
just Springfield A&M.
Yep. fucking community, or they have a community fire department, but yet they have multiple large colleges. And they steal that pig and the A&M little with the fun little hat and the sweater. That pig, cute as a goddamn button.
Which cartoon pigs are always cute. Real pigs are terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, we've discussed that, dude. Like when I first saw a full-grown pig, it was horror movie material. Like, oh, that could eat my head. It probably wants to.
It literally would, yeah.
Yeah, if I was not moving for 45 minutes, that pig would eat your head.
That's why the mob likes pigs. Yeah. They eat bones and all.
Clean everything up. So they get in trouble, and the pig had powerful connections, so they all get expelled. So the boys are pretty sad because they are not the kind of boys that get expelled. They're nerds. They love college. They don't want to have to leave college.
Yeah.
So what is it? Homer, they make Homer cram like he's never crammed before, and there's a montage. Oh, I do love, too. I'm sorry I have to go back, but Homer's discussing how sad he is about these boys, and then he invites him over. He's kind of warm to them. And then Bart chastises him for hanging out with nerds, which Homer disputes. And then Marge, Homer, please, these boys are very nice, but they're clearly nerds.
Yeah, Marge is on board with Bart.
There's a couple times where Marge is like hostile towards nerds, which I found interesting.
Well, she's not happy that they've taken over her house because they're living at the Simpsons. Yeah. And she wants to use the phone, but they're on dial-up internet. Yeah.
Or they unplug the TV during the one episode where the cat of Itchy and Scratchy actually kills the mouse.
Yep.
They'll never let us show that again, is what Krusty exclaims.
Yep, and the kids are horrified that they had to miss it because
the rock tumbler.
Yeah, because the nerds wanted to plug in their rock tumbler.
Fuck, I laughed.
Oh God, fucking nerds! Rock tumbler. What kind of young person is into rock polishing? Yeah.
I just drove by a business today that said antiques and rocks. I loved it. I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to buy anything. Just put a deposit box on the outside of this. I'll give you fucking $10 here or there. Keep this fucking shit going.
Antiques and rocks.
And just the most bland type print too was the best. Just a little sign, antiques and rocks.
Perfect.
We don't want you to come, but if you're just curious, that's what we got in here.
That's what's in here, just so you know.
But keep driving.
I like one of those things.
But I'm trying to think about they do all of that cramming. There's a montage of how hard they work to get Homer to pass it. He takes the test and he promptly gets an F.
Yep, fails. They don't even give any time to showing the teacher correcting his test. Just goes down F.
Well, how does he end up getting an A+ again? I forgot that part.
It's not deeply explained, but the nerds change it to an A+ with their computer.
Oh, okay. Which at this time in human history, the computer was a very mysterious object.
Yeah, it may as well been a fucking wizard scepter.
Yeah. Back then, anyone that owned a computer, you just assumed was a hacker, or a geek. Yeah,
if you knew how to type in 1993.
What's with this guy knowing how to type and shit?
Honestly, 1993, I'd have been 8 years old, third grade. Probably never seen a computer at this point in my life. Yeah. So,
we had shit computers, the ones where there was just the screens were 2 different tones of brown or whatever the color was, or you'd play Fraction Munchers or Oregon Trail and shit. But I remember the first time I saw a computer with a color screen, I'm like, holy fuck, this is they fucking shoehorned this out of a goddamn space shuttle.
What alien did we steal this from?
Yeah. So Homer gets his A+, he gets his job back, and all is well with the world.
Yeah, we wrap that one up. I'm not gonna lie. This is a well-regarded episode. This is a Conan O'Brien episode, and I didn't really care for it.
The pig shit was what made me laugh the most. When he was uncorking the tail and letting it curl back up, pulling it out. When that pig finally bit him, Christ, I laughed. Because you could see in that pig's eyes, he had enough.
He's getting tired of it. Yeah. I like the burn stuff because I always like the burn stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I thought this was just okay. But also, I don't really care for the college movies of the time. Like, I don't think Animal House is that good. I don't think Revenge of the Nerds is that good. Like,
Marlin, why?
I don't, like, they're fine,
Marlin.
but I don't.
Booger, Marlin, booger.
Yeah.
Booger
no.
alone.
It's all just okay.
Oh, man.
I don't buy deep into the college comedies of the 80s and 90s.
I would maybe take, God, I don't know. I've seen Animal House too much, but I almost enjoy Revenge of the Nerds more. And
I feel like I've heard that from a few people.
Yeah.
It's Animal House is the one that got all the press for some reason.
It's so overtly awful and crass and just fucking shitty. And I just love fucking whatever that guy's name is, Curtis something, the guy that plays Booger. It's like that was the role he was born to fucking play.
Yeah. Just not my flavor.
Yeah.
Oh God, speaking of flavor, there's a bit earlier in this episode where they're watching television and there's a commercial playing for Worcestershire sauce flavored soda, which is the worst combination of words I've ever heard. Oh my God.
Ever put a few dashes of that on your hamburger meat and think, I wish this was carbonated.
You ever be sipping a nice ruby red squirt and think, boy, I wish this were beefier.
Yeah. I am a believer. We never had it growing up. I don't know who turned me on to it, but I like a little splash of Worcestershire sauce on hamburger meat before you cook it when you're making the patties. Little culinary life hack.
Sure, yeah. I don't, but yeah, I could see that being fine. Like, Worcestershire sauce and beef go together, so.
I'm trying, what else does it get used in?
My favorite Bloody Mary recipe has some Worcestershire in it.
Interesting, okay.
Just for a little, it's got it's salty, but also, like, earthy. It's got a little bit of a beefy kind of taste to it. I like a little bit in a good hot Bloody Mary. That same Bloody Mary recipe also has a significant amount of horseradish in it.
Okay.
It is a hair on your chest type Bloody Mary that I really like. Episode number 4, Rosebud. I have never seen Citizen Kane, so I'm sure I miss a lot of jokes here.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe it's worth sitting down and watching, but it's one of those movies I'm sure in its day, it's like, holy shit, what is this? This is so amazing. But again, just like with so many movies, we have watched decades of movies rip off the good ideas of this movie. So at this point, it's just like, it's very well done, but it's like, I don't know.
My brain always needs to do a quick diagnostic check on whether or not we're talking about Orson Welles or H.G. Wells, the author. And those are not nearly the same person.
Yeah, the more plump of the two.
Much like my John Lovitz, John Lithgow kerfuffle that my brain has to go through every time. Also, it's the same with Death at a Funeral and 4 Weddings at a Funeral. I'm always like, I really like one of those. Is it the one I like? No, it's the bad one? Okay.
You run in interesting circles where that comes up enough in your life to be a thing.
It honestly does. It came up this week.
That's amazing.
Someone mentioned Death at a Funeral, and I was like, I love that. Nope, that's the other one. Nope, the one I like is the other one. Death at a Funeral is fantastic if you've never seen it.
I think that's the one I have seen. Now I don't know which one I've seen. Now I might get stuck. You suck me into your seedy lifestyle, Marlon Wells.
Yep, that's how I roll. You want the British one with Anthony what's his name, Alan Tudyk from
Firefly. Yeah, that's the one I've seen. Yeah, I've seen that one.
It's real fucking good.
Yeah.
So The Simpsons, season 5, episode 4, Rosebud. Burns is dreaming about his youth and his little lost bear. I love that the path that made Mr. Burns the way he is was literally just him like bailing on his parents to go live with this evil rich man. And he does it with like
glee.
Yeah, he does it with glee, hops in, throws on sunglasses, and is just like, let's roll, and leaves his bear behind.
Yeah. And George Burns makes an appearance, so that's early 90s for you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, at least we have our other son, and it's George Burns, which I don't know anything about George Burns other than what he looks like.
Yeah. Little old man.
Some manner of jokester old man.
Yeah, old vaudevillian guy that had like a kind of like a second half of fame in his 80s and 90s. Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what's his name? Mick from the Rocky movies.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of who you're talking about. Burgess Meredith?
Burgess Meredith. Yeah. There we go.
Then he had the grumpy old man. He's like the old grandpa guy.
Yeah, he's Jack Lemmon's dad in the Grumpy Old Men movies.
He was
my favorite Burgess Meredith is he plays George in Of Mice and Men.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, from I want to say 1939.
Oh no, fuck, that dude was old.
With the motherfucking Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr. playing Lenny.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that casting.
If I'm not mistaken, that movie is available in its entirety on YouTube. So it's also on HBO Max. I watched it this week because I love that movie.
There you go.
Much better than the Gary Sinise, John Malkovich of Mice and Men.
Oh, I forgot that one even existed. Yeah.
Yeah, that one made me sad. That was the first one I saw, and I was like, "Oh, this is all," because I love the book. I love Of Mice and Men is one of my favorites, and I was like, "Man, this is a bummer." And then I had heard about the 1939 version and went and watched that, and it's delightful.
Well, there you go.
So when you're not watching Simpsons, I suggest you
Simpsons
give Of Mice and Men a watch.
Yeah, the first issue of Mice and Men. Don't watch the Malkovich one.
Yeah, you want the old shit. Lon Chaney Jr., by the way, was a mountain of a man.
Yeah.
Just huge.
No, yeah, especially I bet compared to the rest of those people that were all tiny.
Mm-hmm. Including Burgess Meredith, who's just this skinny little dude.
Burgess Meredith could comfortably ride on your back in a backpack.
Like Yoda in the swamp.
Yeah. We're going to make you a killer. More jump rope.
Chase this chicken rock. So Burns is having like sweaty nightmares about having lost his bear when he was a child. Smithers briefly fantasizes about a naked Mr. Burns popping out of a cake singing happy birthday a la Marilyn Monroe to Kennedy.
Smithers, man, that dude needs some serious help.
I want the Smithers backstory episode that I'm sure we get.
Yeah.
Like how did we get here? Yeah. Why is Smithers like this? Burns wants Homer to tell jokes at his birthday party. They show going into I just have the line written down. I believe that this is from Burns's birthday party. Yes, it is, where they're working the door and they show old presidents going in. Reagan goes in. I forget who else, but George H. Bush goes to go in, and the bouncer says, "No one-termers," and throws him out. Yeah. And then they show George standing there next to Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter's like, "Come on, we can go do this." And George Bush is like, "No, you loser.
Get away from me, loser." Yeah. The dislike of Jimmy Carter on this show is so wild.
Yeah. They really dunk on Jimmy Carter on this show.
And I do,
go ahead.
Oh, and I do like the musical choice of the Ramones.
It's either Burns or Smithers is like, "Oh, they'll sing Happy Birthday. This will be nice and relaxing." And it's the Ramones.
Someone in HR really dropped the ball there. Like they did not look bad. They should have asked for a cassette tape and got a better feel of it. That was like a janitor that put that in a request box. And maybe in probably like the mid to late 90s, there's a big thing in my hometown where they raise money for the fire department every year. And it's always like, usually in the city armory, and, people get dressed up and there's drinks and food, and they always have a musical act. And one year, I don't know what the fuck happened, they booked a metal band. Which this is not metal band country. And I asked my mom how it went. She's like, "Well, No one really cared for it, but there was one guy out there just dancing his heart out. I just love the idea of one little burnout dude finally gets his wish. Yeah, they're playing Deep Purple covers. It's like a quest night. They are playing for him at that
point. Just one dude who has a jean vest back home full of patches and pins, just rocking.
Turning to look at them like, what are you guys waiting for?
Come on, man.
It's gonna circle pit up in this bitch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So they're at the birthday party. The Ramones wrap up their thing. Smithers comes out to introduce Homer, but first announces that an adorable puppy who resembles Lassie has been run over in the parking lot. Anyway, here's Homer Simpson with some jokes.
You and I can both relate. Not quite that severe, but boy, we had some less than ideal circumstances to try to make people laugh in.
Yeah. And that's, like, for me anyway, it seems to always be my own fault because it's like, hey, Marlin, you want to we're having some people tell jokes at this charity fundraiser, and which is always a bad idea because it's good. Like top of the show, just, okay, everyone, thanks for coming. We appreciate all your donations. As you know, it's progressed to stage 4, so it's not looking good. Anyway, here's Marlin Wells with some jokes, and it's like, God damn it.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, you were thankfully not with for this nightmare show, but we did a show in a small town. And the real story is 20 minutes long and there's highs and lows.
So tell it.
Oh, man. You want to hear the whole thing?
You know me, man. Yeah. I always want to hear it.
So it's the second time we've ever went out to tell jokes, at least for me. And I should not have been getting paid to tell jokes, but sometimes things happen in life. Do it.
You're a little overeager, maybe? A little too big for your britches?
Yeah, I think so. I did a show in my hometown. Of course, they all laughed because they didn't feel sad for making me sad. So, yeah, I can do it all, I can do it all. And we do this show, and we did this show the night before where there was 14 people there, 10 of which wanted to kill us, and those last 4 showed up late. They're the only reasons we'd survived that night. But anyhow, we pull into this bar. It's connected to a racetrack. Always, you never know. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like cars or horses? What are we talking?
Cars. But
okay.
So we're there, and we noticed there's way more cars in the park. I was like, this might be all right, compared to the night before. There was 3 very beat up looking pickup trucks. So we get in, a lot of people. And they got a stage set up with a sound system. The owners are really awesome. And we're like, oh, man, I heard the food is good. Let's all eat supper, So we order our food, and we're eating. It's like a steak thing, like all bars do, have a big steak thing. And as we're about to get started, the old man who is also taking ticket, elderly man, very old man, comes up to us. He must be the father of the owner or somebody. And he's like helping clean up the kitchen stuff. And it is 90 seconds to showtime, whoever has to go up first. And he's like, hey, you boys want to finish off the rest of these peppers and onions? So it's like a kettle of hot peppers and onions that they had kept for people that want to dollop that onto their steak or whatever.
Okay, sure.
And it's like, no thanks, man. I already ate. Plus, I don't want to fucking eat like a bowl of onions before I go tell jokes. And we all politely declined. The look of hurt in that man's eyes. I was like, what just happened? But hey, man, showtime. So we get the show going. Josh Dulé goes up there, fucking eats his own shoes for 8 minutes. Just nothing at all. Chase, beautiful, who sang our theme song, Beautiful Baby Angel, Chase Rader goes up there. They don't let. He turned on the crowd. We all know how much of an angel he is. He turned on the crowd. He mentioned the internet. And he's like, yeah, you guys might find out about that in about 10, 12 years. And it's like, they were too disinterested to give a shit about getting insulted. It was, and I am still, again, I'm so fucking naive. I'm going to go up there and fucking win them back. Because I thought that's how fucking good my fart smelled. I'm going to do it. I get up on stage. Again, this is now, I had done 2 shows before this. This is the 3rd time I've ever told jokes for fucking money. I look in the crowd, maybe 30, 35 people. It was like looking at a bunch of your high school friends' moms. They were staring at me with polite smiles, but they just like, bless his heart. I bet that's his nicest shirt. Good for him. Like, they don't understand a word I'm fucking saying. And even if they did, they don't find any of it funny, but we'll just sit here and smile. And then eventually just turn to polite talk between them. And every man is turned away from me and staring at a TV. And we said that too. The show was about to start. Like, hey man, can we turn these TVs off? Like, no way, dude. Like, fuck, I guess. I guess we're gonna be competing with other forms of entertainment tonight.
Always a good sign when they won't turn the TVs off.
And the reason they want to turn the TVs off, it's the North Dakota State Championship basketball game for Class B, the biggest sporting event in North Dakota.
Yep, Class B high school basketball, and easily the biggest thing.
The local team is in the championship game. So I am supposed to do 25 minutes. I'm fucking just slogging. I burned through all my material in 8. So now I'm just, anything I've ever found mildly amusing in my life, I'm just telling the stories now. And somehow, just against all odds, I kind of turn it in my favor. Oh, at 1.2, I'm like, hey, everyone, I had to take a drink because, of course, I got cotton mouth because I'm dying up there. Hey, cheers. I hold the beer up. We're in a bar. Of the 30-odd people, I see like 4 drinks go up. Everyone else is drinking fucking tap water. You know why, Marlin? Because they're there to watch a fucking basketball game. They pay to cover these fucking marks. Oh, sure, we'll pay. I think they charge $10 to hear us, too. Go on the bar to make that money, but. So I'm somehow winning them back a little slightly winning them back. And I am going into my last 5, you're fucking setting them up for the big finish in quotes. But it was my big finish, And as I'm fucking a third of the way through my final bit, the men let out a wail like they just got shot in the fucking liver. All the women turn. I look up. The fucking local team lost the state championship game on a buzzer beater 3-pointer. I shit you not. So they are like literally falling out of their chairs. They're hollering. They're on their cell phones. All decorum. I'm just fucking stuck where I'm standing, frozen. This nice lady turned to, hey, hon, how about you come and sit down for a bit, and then we'll tell you when you can start telling your stories again.
Oh, my God.
You want to know what I did, Marlin? You want to know what I did? I sat the fuck down like a goddamn cuck that I was and am. And I watched the replay of that final. And then I was like, wow, that was really sad. Okay, you can go back up. I do 4 minutes of jokes that no one is listening one word of. Put that fucking mic in the stand. And the show isn't over. Mitch fucking Ryerson, another angel that we know, looks God, like
poor Mitch.
He just watched someone choke out a family of dogs on stage. And that's what he's going to follow up.
Oh, God.
And he gets into it for the first few minutes and stuff. But now the men are paying attention. Everyone's engaged. Like, holy shit, the show might end decently. And I'm now in the crowd because I am done. I am sweat, roughly 17 gallons. I am replacing those gallons with fucking Bud Light. Just crushing beers. It's not like I don't have a 250-mile drive home that night. Let's leave that out of it. I got to forget the fucking last nightmare half hour. And I'm, holy shit, good for Mitch. And then I watch as one man's head after the other man's head turns to the left. I look up. There's a fucking hockey game going. UND is in sudden death overtime in the playoffs. Win or go home. They fucking lose on a last-second goal to be knocked out of the fucking season. So again, a wail erupts from the crowd, and now no one even bothers to look back at Mitch. It's just, okay, we're done. We don't have to be in this bar anymore. So it's just Mitch telling jokes as people put their winter coats on and, Astros start their cars, like fucking. We walked out of that bar, just fucking 1,000-yard stares, sit down in silence, and someone goes, we should have ate those fucking onions. That old man cursed us.
Yeah, I think that's what did it. That was your monkey paw situation right there.
Oh my God. Yep.
Oh, man. I always... I've seen it a time or two between the two of them. It always breaks my fucking heart to watch Chase Rader or Mitch Ryerson do poorly on stage.
God damn it. They deserve laughs.
Likeable little angel boys of all time. And when you see them do badly, you just want to swat the wrists of every audience member not laughing.
These are nice boys.
Just shame on you.
Yeah.
You laugh at this nice boy's jokes.
You're like Chris Farley in that sketch where Adam Sandler wants to sleep in your bed, like the Hurley boy. Just let the boy sleep in your bed. Just let the boy tell his jokes. They're nice jokes. He's clean cut. Well, Chase isn't clean cut. Well, no. Mitch had a period where he wasn't clean cut.
Right. We've all had a period
back up that
where
clean cut comment.
Yeah, but the two most cherub-like, sweetest boys in all of the Fargo comedy scene.
Yep.
Oh,
they deserve. They should be in some other form of entertainment where they're treated better.
Josh DeLay goes up there and eats shit. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
That was his goal.
He's a fucking dirtbag.
Yeah.
That's easily worse than any comedy experience I've had. I've never had an audience member ask me to sit down and will tell you when you can go up again.
And she was being polite. That was her way of like, okay, you don't have to stress out. Just sit down for a while. They hand me a water. I'm drinking it with both hands like a little kid. Should we get you some cocoa?
Yeah. They put a blanket around your shoulders. Like you just survived a natural disaster.
They pulled me out of a burning house.
Like you're John McClane at the end of Die Hard sitting in the back of the ambulance with your fucking blanket on. Oh, God.
That's a segue. Thank you. That was good. It's fucking feels good to get that story out of me.
I am glad to have heard it. I had never heard that story.
No. Show business.
Yep, we made it, guys. We made it. Telling jokes from hearing Sinbad for the first time to having these kind of comedy experiences on the road in small town North Dakota.
Should have ate those onions. How about this? 2-3 years later, I'm driving because I have to drive there if I want to visit my parents. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but I drive by it. And I was hungry. It's like, if that bar is still open, I could stand for a steak right now. It's not racing season. There's nobody in there. Maybe 2 barflies sitting there. I'm eating a steak. I hear someone go, "You got a joke for us?" It was like when Linda Hamilton sees Arnold Schwarzenegger at the beginning of T2. Like I was like on my hands, pushing myself. No, like pushing myself into the corner. But just like Arnold, they came to help. They were very polite, so they had a fun time. But like all those shows, the bar staff, they're always in the back enjoying it. It's the people up front that just hate us.
Yeah, it's always the bar staff always enjoys themselves. It's always the audience that is the enemy.
Yeah. Someday we're going to change that.
I'm not holding my breath, but we'll keep trying.
Yeah, that's our promise to you.
Yeah, because we are determined, young, stupid men.
Yep. If it hasn't changed now, it's never going to change.
Nope. So Homer also has a tough gig up there after Smithers' news of the dog's demise, but also doesn't have good jokes and drops trow and has a frowny face painted on his ass, impersonating Mr. Burns. Burns, finding no humor in this, has him taken off the stage and then ends the party by having the riot police show up and beat everyone.
Probably a lot funnier in 1993 than in 2020.
Yeah, like we've said before, these riot police jokes really hit a little different.
Yep, they sure do. And it's not too long after this we get another feeble Burns. Oh, does he? Oh, he tries to take the. I'm sorry, I'm jumping at plot-wise here, but his Bobo is found. We get a miraculous tale of how a fucking stuffed animal can survive for 80 years and somehow end up in the hands of Maggie Simpson. And he tries to wrestle the bear away from Maggie, and it ends in a stalemate.
Yeah,
Mr. Burns cannot overpower a 14-month-old baby, which I love.
Yeah. Mr. Burns cannot steal a stuffed animal from an infant.
Yeah, not even 14 months, like 8, 10 months.
So
she
good.
Ain't walking very good yet.
But the Simpsons have Bobo the bear and are going to try to extort money out of Burns in order to give it to him. But then Maggie becomes attached and doesn't and won't give it up. There's a handful of moments of
great jokes.
like Homer like wrestles it away from her and is gonna like sell it back to Mr. Burns, and there's some real adorable Maggie moments of Maggie looking real sad and wanting her bear back.
Yeah.
And it always works. Like at one point, Mr. Burns goes on the offensive and puts himself on every TV channel and shuts down all of the beer deliveries to the whole town. And then sicks the town people on Homer. Like, you don't like it? Talk to Homer.
Yeah.
And so a whole mob shows up at the Simpson household, and they charge in, and Moe steals the bear away from Maggie, and they're passing it over their heads, and Maggie's looking sad, and Moe immediately feels bad and is like, nah, and they give it back to her, and the whole mob just like shuffles out of the house.
Oh my god, yeah. The Springfield folk are quick to mob up. They like a good mob in Springfield.
Yep.
And kind of after the disastrous birthday party, there's one other thing we got to touch on, which I'm sure you're going to want to do as well, but a very crestfallen Mr. Burns is sitting in his chambers, and in a very bizarre attempt to cheer him up, goddamn Smithers shows up in that teddy bear costume. He sits on his lap and says, "Hug me, squeeze me, tug on my fur," in a very come hither way that I do not care for.
In an extremely suggestive tone of voice. Have you ever tried initiating sex by saying "tug on my fur"? I think you maybe should. I think you should maybe give it a whirl. Yeah,
man, I'll put that on this marker board I have in front of me here.
Don't tug too hard. It's a merkin.
That's it. Undo my merkin straps if you want to get more vigorous with the tugging.
Oh God!
Unlace my merkin girdle.
Oh, something about those two words next to each other I don't care for.
Undo the laces quickly so my fleshy mound does not protrude too fast. Where are you going? Come back.
Oh,
you know how hard it is to retighten this thing alone?
I need help.
Tie it around one of the support beams in the basement. Want to do a job, or you want to do it yourself if you want it done right.
Merkin Girdle sounds like a big band leader from the 50s.
He very much does. With the delightful sounds of the Merkin Girdle Orchestra. Merkin Girdle and the Merkin Girdle Platers are up next. The plate spinning Thompson twins will be up next.
Got his big break on the Ed Sullivan Show and never looked back.
Another great gag here. Again, it's Milhouse on the milk carton, but they're replacing the Milhouse picture with a sticker of that bear.
Yeah, and my question was, wait, why is Milhouse missing? Where is Milhouse?
That gag has been used before with somebody missing. There's a Skinner one where Skinner's like, have you seen my body? And then they staple over the missing dog poster. Yeah. Yeah,
that's the one where Skinner is buried under the newspapers in his garage during the Mafia episode.
When Homer discovers that they own the bear, Maggie has like set it up behind, or maybe Lisa or Bart or some horseplay, and the bear is behind the aquarium, and it's like backlit, so the bear's head is big and like clear. And then Homer's fallen, and he sees it, and he exclaims, "How long have we had those fish?" Because that was clearly a prop added for that gag.
Yep.
There's another great gag where Bart's about to get beat up because like Burns has turned the city against him, and like all the bullies are surrounding him. And then Martin walks by. "Look, fellas, the first snapdragon of the season." And of course, they turn their attention to terrorizing him.
They're just like, never mind, and they dive on Martin.
Don't ever change, Martin.
I really love. So this episode wraps up by Burns coming over to talk to Homer about getting the bear back, and then Homer's like, "It's not mine, it's Maggie's." And then Burns goes and talks to Maggie, and wants his bear back and is sad, and Maggie sees that he's sad and gives him his bear back. So Burns gets Bobo back in his life. There's a funny ending bit where it's like 1,000,000 years from now, and Robot Burns is like it's a robot with Burns' head in a jar on top, which later goes on to be on Futurama all the time. The head in a jar on a robot body bit. But he's like finding Bobo again because he like just loses Bobo every 100 years or so. There's a bit when Maggie gives him the bear back. He's like, I promise I'm only going to love people and do good things from here on out. Smithers, write that down. And Smithers is like, I don't have a pen. And Burns says, oh, I'm sure I'll remember it.
Yeah,
and
so
then
great.
Clearly is never going to change at all.
Oh, yeah, very well done.
I love we've touched on it earlier, but the journey of Bobo is so good because he's in the snow where Burns left him as a kid, and then the snow melts. He floats down a river. He's picked up by Charles Lindbergh and flown to France. And when he lands in Paris, he throws the bear out the window in celebration, and it's picked up by Adolf Hitler, who then has the bear through his reign. Has him in the bunker. And it's like, this is all your fault, yelling at the bear. And then the bear gets frozen in ice, like Captain America-esque, gets frozen in ice, and is then discovered by the people who collect ice for the Quickie Mart, who apparently just chop ice in the Arctic.
So great. Yeah.
And they show them being like, you got to stop this. We lost 3 men on this excursion. And Apu's like, if you have a better way to get ice, I'm welcome to hear it.
And they have no help. Well, man's got a point.
They're like, yeah, we don't. Oh, okay. I just love that. That's how they get ice is by sending excursions to go chop it in the Arctic.
Good episode. Very good. I mean, it's
great.
Getting silly.
I liked that one a lot because, boy, howdy do I like Mr. Burns.
You do. Yeah. So we got not one but 2 feeble Burnses, and we got not one but 2 creepy Smitherses. So that's some good counting stats. I like that. Mm-hmm. That looks good on the back of a baseball card.
Tug on my fur, Nathan. Tug on my fur.
Well, and that outfit, I don't know if furries were a thing. I'm sure they were. They just weren't in the public eye, but that was a very furry-centric. That's
it's
the kind
tight,
of bear,
like a onesie.
Yep, that's the kind of bear costume that has a flap in the back, if you know what I mean. Penetrative sex is what that flap is for.
Oh, I thought bathroom stuff, but
well, some people do enjoy the bathroom stuff. With that. Let's not go down that road. Episode 5, Marlin, stick with me here.
Okay.
Treehouse of Horror.
He did it, everybody. I did it. We got it. We got there.
I did, and I'm good at this. Not the Treehouse of Terror, the Treehouse of Horror. Horror.
Horror.
Horror. Horror. I'm going to get that part down. My body wants to say terror so much. I'm like, I'm going to fight myself. So, episode 5, Treehouse of Horror 4, in a parody, I think it's like Night Gallery, which I've never seen. I think wasn't that Rod Sterling's second show after Twilight Zone?
I have no idea. I didn't get the reference of this framing device at all.
I've seen the paintings thing. I don't know if I've ever really given that show much of it. I know I've never given that show much of a try, but I recognize the painting as bringing you into the stories. Okay. So that's kind of what they're going for here. And then Marge does show up and chastises Bart for not telling the people that these could be pretty scary. I loved it. Just when she's like a real deal mom. It's like such a this is going to be scary. So you make sure you let those kids know.
Yep.
Thinking of others. Marge is the best. The first one, again, Bart, like always, it's 3 different tales. First one is The Devil and Homer Simpson. So, I'm sorry, I don't want to jump that far. We got to go, as always, the detail in these episodes, like those tombstones. Love them.
Yeah, I didn't think the tombstones were as funny as last time around.
No, I just appreciate it. I didn't even really laugh, but.
Yeah, but they were still good. Mm-hmm. Like one is TV violence, and it just gets riddled with bullet holes and bleeds, which I thought was funny.
The second time mentioned in this podcast was the very first one. Just says Elvis below it. Accept it.
Accept it.
And
yep.
That really shows how old this show is, because Elvis faking his death is still a known enough commodity that like that reference was gotten by everyone that saw this when it aired, you know, like
Elvis sightings were still like tabloid fodder in 93
totally.
for
like,
sure.
Like, he's not a part of like the cultural landscape like anymore, you know?
No, not in the least.
At least like a fraction of a like I bet anyone under 30 wouldn't even recognize old Elvis. You know what I mean? Like old shitty Elvis, like, man. And he was every other fucking tabloid when I was that age had Elvis on the front with his sunglasses on when he was like time lapsed to look older, like Elvis seen working at a Sonic in Omaha, Nebraska, or fucking Elvis has his fucking CDL and is hauling gravel in New Mexico.
The single best thing to ever come out of, hey, maybe Elvis faked his death and is living somewhere is motherfucking Bubba Hotep.
Bubba Hotep, very good movie.
I love that movie so much.
Impressed by that. I went into it with like, this will be all right. Like, it is a good movie. Like, gives you some feels. You know, there's good laughs, there's good horror, but like it's also like kind of makes you think. It's poignant at times.
Yeah,
like
that movie is very good on a lot of fronts.
Yeah. And like, nowadays Elvis is just, I don't even know what the comparison for our age would be, you know, to them. It's so long ago. What would have been like Buddy Holly to us, you know, had been dead for decades by the time we were teenagers, you know. Like,
long gone, sure.
Yeah. So, to quote Tracy Lawrence, time marches on, Marlin.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So I'm speaking of references, people, and I will go down with the 90s country music reference ship, brother.
Tracy Lawrence and his curly mullet and big mustache.
That had to be a perm mullet. That ain't natural. But good for him going that extra mile.
That means that in some small town, Tracy Lawrence was sitting next to some old woman with the bowl over his head.
No, I picture him
in a perm dryer chair.
He's in a beat up Ford Bronco 2 looking at a picture of Alan Jackson with his blonde mullet. And he looks in the rearview mirror. You got to mix it up, Tracy. He walks into his hometown, comes out with some tight, kinky curls in his mullet.
Oh, God. Yeah. The mustache curly mullet combo of early 90s country.
He got an argument because he wanted to be charged the gentleman's perm price, but they argued the length of his mullet necessitated that it be the regular perm price. You got lady hair. This ain't a gentleman's perm.
This is too long. We ain't giving you the Jerry Cole price. We ain't giving you the short price.
Oh, good.
Oh, man.
Another fun little tidbit in that intro. If you know, they always have like the scary names during the credits. Usually some kind of plan
like the writers and whatnot.
Yeah, but if you notice, the one for Conan says "Watch Conan O'Brien" because I'm guessing this was right around the time the show was starting. Yeah, so kind of I'm sure just like a fond farewell. Like, hey, everyone, watch Conan O'Brien.
I really thought that he was on The Simpsons for longer.
Yeah. But then I should have thought about it. Like I watched Conan right off the bat. I was obsessed with it. Like because I was obsessed with the Late Night with Letterman show. And then when Conan took over, that was he was terrible at hosting right away, but like the sketches and the gags were right in my fucking wheelhouse. Like,
yeah, the content was there.
Yeah. So Homer, he loves donuts, which is plain to see.
We know this a lot.
Yeah. And then the devil visits him at work. The devil is played by Ned Flanders and offers him to sign over his soul for a donut, which Homer does not give a shit about. But then he realizes, like, if I just leave this one bite, you probably don't get my soul. It's like a loophole. Yeah. And then in total Homer fashion, like a night later, he's hungry at 3 a.m. and there's all these plates with all these food. And one of them says, "Don't touch Dad's soul donut."
Yep. And of course eats it. Yep. Like, I love that he figures out this loophole. Like, aha, I got one over on the devil. The next scene, he eats the rest of the donut.
So he's about ready to get taken off to hell. But then the kids and Marge come out. They bargain with the devil. He deserves a fair trial. You know, like, okay. But he has to spend the day in hell, which they force feed him donuts in the ironic torture department. And little do they know that going to be there a long time. Before
Yep,
that,
they just have the machine that just shovels donuts down Homer, and he is like thrilled, happy the whole time.
He keeps saying more. Like he's impatient with the speed of this donut machine.
Yeah, the like monkey paw style devil punishment does not work at all.
Then fast forward to the next day, it's time for he's in like a cell of fire as they decide his fate. And of course, Lionel fucking Holtz is his representative when he enters the kitchen combing his hair with that fork. Christ,
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Holy shit, did I laugh like an idiot. And
God, he's so good.
And the jury was so great. It was like Lizzie Borden, Blackbeard, Benedict Arnold, and then the front line of the 1976 Philadelphia Flyers, which is so great. Such a specific reference.
Not knowing anything about hockey, I was like, okay, I assumed they were known for being mean or violent, but I didn't get anything specifically out of that.
HBO made a documentary about the Broad Street Bullies, and it is, I don't care if you've ever, I'm not a hockey guy. That documentary is so good. It's so they almost ruined the NHL. They were so good, but they were so violent. Like, it's like, it was like a fucking what's it called? What's the goddamn Paul Newman's hockey movie? Why the fuck am I blanking on that? Slapshot. It's like Slapshot. If it was fucking a documentary, it's insane. Like they played the Soviets. Like the Soviets, their national team's like maybe the best hockey team on earth. And they just couldn't believe it. Like, it's like, why are we punching this? This isn't boxing. This is that's how we do it here, brother. And like, they all partied at the same dive bar after a game. So you can just go hang out with them and crush pitchers of fucking, I don't know what they were drinking there. Iron City beer, whatever their cheap tap beer of choice was.
Whatever their old style is.
And they all just lived in big ranch style homes and normal neighborhoods because they weren't making bazillions of dollars. It's such a trip, man.
I'll have to watch that.
Well done. And if you have HBO Max, you could even watch it. Look at you go. It's
when I'm not watching Of Mice and Men on repeat, I'll watch that. Boy, if I watched Of Mice and Men on repeat, I would just be sad all the time.
Yeah, just gonna say, yeah.
look at the bunnies, Lenny.
Yeah. So they have the trial, and this and that. Of course, Lionel Holtz very bad at his job, and it's not looking good for Homer. Until Marge, on the 11th hour, comes out of the bedroom and saves the day with a wedding picture of Homer in the ER because he ate the entire wedding cake prior to the wedding. And on the back of said picture, it turns out he promised his soul to Marge.
Yeah, so it wasn't even his to sell to the devil.
I had to talk to Marge if he wants to sell that soul.
Yeah, gets a loophole victory.
Yeah, but before he goes back down to hell, the devil does curse Homer to have a head of a donut.
Yep, head made of donut that Homer, of course, is eating.
Homer, quit picking at that. I like that.
But I'm delicious. Yeah, it's very dumb.
No, I'm so sweet and tasty, is what he says.
Yeah, there it is. That's what it was. Yeah, solid one. I really like deal with the devil type stories. I always have, whether it's Robert Johnson or the Faust. Like I like.
Is it Young Goodman Brown is a short story. If you were ever an English major, you have to read. I think that's maybe the name of it, where a guy has walking down a dark path in the woods and has to make a deal with the devil.
Oh, okay, that I haven't read.
Yeah, if you enjoy things that were written before people had fucking, everyone had malnourished brains the size of walnuts. Dig right in.
I do like that kind of thing. Like as much as I like, Faust or that kind of stuff, I also like The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Yeah. So I'm not like refined in some way. Yeah. I also like this fucking fiddle song. Yeah. I've been meaning to watch, speaking of Robert Jordan, there's a Robert Jordan documentary that I've been meaning to watch. He's the blues guitar player
Robert
down
Johnson,
at the crossroads. Oh, yes, Robert Johnson. What was I saying?
Robert Jordan.
Oh, yeah, that's not it at
all. Fun fact, like in the late aughts, like, I don't know, 2007, 8-ish, probably around there, they had a guy at the Fargo Blues Fest, which, very well-run organization, but certainly not a premier place for blues musicians, is Fargo, North Dakota, in the Fargo Dome parking lot in the middle of summer. But they had, as one of the headliners one year, like a 92-year-old man who was like contemporaries of Robert Johnson. They were like boyhood friends, and they learned to play guitar together. And you know what I didn't do, Marlon? I didn't go to that fucking show because I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sure it's something more important to do. Like, hey, let's see if we can drink all the tap beer in this terrible bar.
Yeah, the Fargo Blues Fest is something that happens every year, and I'm always like,
I need to go to that.
I should go to that, and I never fucking do.
I'll take
and then I'm always mad afterwards. Like, God damn it, Marlin.
I'll take a 4-hour nap instead.
Like, I like blues music, and they often get these kind of obscure shit like what you were talking about. Or like, it was either last year or the year before, they had the Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, who I really fucking
love. Always a fun time.
And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go check that shit out. Nope, I didn't. Some fucking idiot.
We can be real dumb sometimes. So the second part of the 3-part Treehouse of Horror is is Terror at 5.5 Feet, a play off of one of my favorite, if not favorite, Twilight Zone episodes, a Terror at 200,000 feet or 20,000 feet.
20,000,
would be in space. Might be a sequel someday. Which, I don't know if you've seen either the original with William Shatner, a young William Shatner is the terrified
that's the
person.
one I've seen.
The movie one, I might actually enjoy more because John Lithgow acts his weirdly tall ass off in that one. Like, he is very spooked. And the gremlin that they use in this resembles the one from the movie. That's one thing.
Okay.
In the TV show, it's more off-putting because it's just like a weird, hairy, humanoid man thing holding onto the wing. It's like looking into the window at him like, what the fuck? God, that's good. Again, that shit aired on network TV in the 50s. Christ, how many kids never slept for a week after that shit?
I love me some old Twilight Zone.
Yeah, man.
For that
the
reason.
Writing on that show, holy shit. Burgess Meredith in a very famous episode of the Twilight Zone. He's a librarian where the world ends and he has all the time in the world to read his books, but his glasses broke. Take that, Burgess.
Break. Yeah. I have all the time in the world now to read all my books, and then breaks his glasses. Boy, weirdly lot of Burgess Meredith coming up this week.
We're America's volume leader on Burgess Meredith mentionings on podcasts.
America's Burgess Basket.
Yeah. So the episode starts with Bart and Lisa getting onto the school bus where Bart sits by Milhouse and Milhouse shows off his Krusty the Clown trading cards. And they look very depressing. I know.
He's running out of ideas.
Yeah, he just got that blank look. Krusty poses for a trading card picture. Get that Gem Mint 10 Sideshow Mel rookie card. Fucking make a house payment with that shit.
Gem Mint. God damn it. You nerd.
And Bart has an ominous dream of his death on the school bus, and he wakes up and he feels the bedding and goes, I hope this is sweat. That's a very good joke.
Yep.
I don't want to pick a scab or an emotional wound. How was your bed pissing game? Were you pretty good about that, or do you have some accidents?
I would have to double check to make sure that I haven't repressed anything, but I don't believe it was ever a thing.
Yeah, I was... toot my own horn, but I pissed and shit like an adult from like 2.5 on. Again, one of the few times being a grown man at age 4. I was tall enough. Well, my mom talks about that. I was too tall for the training thing, so I had to use the regular shitter.
Yeah, I, as far as I know, never once have I dealt with any manner of bedwetting or anything like that. I can definitely remember a handful of times, though, of like, so my bedroom was way upstairs at the top of a long flight of stairs. And I can remember having like the flu or whatever and being like, I'm not going to throw up. I'm not going to throw up. I can just choke this down. It's going to be fine. Oh, threw up in my bedroom. And then you do the walk down to your parents' room and just be like, Mom,
I goofed.
Whoopsie doodle.
Yeah. My dad tells stories about growing up on the farm with no running water and being like 4 years old and having that happen. But you got to go outside in the winter in North Dakota and try to find the outhouse during a blizzard.
Oh, boy.
He also talks about being a little kid making that trip and stepping on a snow grouse and not realizing it. And for a moment, the world explodes. The snow grouse don't want to be stepped on when they're nesting under 5 inches of fallen snow.
Just minding your own business on the way to use the outside bathroom and step on a fucking game bird.
Yeah, I didn't really have bed pissing troubles until I started drinking heavily.
Oh, you had adult bedwetting problems.
I pissed all over the place except toilets for a good chunk of my 20s and teens, but I only remember clearly pissing the bed once. And I remember getting up and dropping trow, taking a huge piss in my own bed. Must have just... it's when you're browning out, so you're watching your own life as a shitty movie, and it's poorly edited, and you want to scream, but no one can hear you. Because I remember doing that. And I remember going to make a bowl of cereal, ate the cereal. that was my thing. I think I was like, this will throw my parents off. They won't know I'm heavily drinking. It's like, you can smell Grand Canadian vodka for half a mile away. They know you're drunk. And...
You're not getting away with anything.
I apparently forgot that I pissed in my bed, and I went to bed, slept 8 fucking hours in it, woke up, drenched, head to toe, like, oh no. But I remembered, like, foggy memories. Oh, I pissed everywhere last night. And our house is tiny, so I was like, what? I got to pull this off. Mom's going to be in here any second to grab laundry. Like, what am I going to do? And I can't wash laundry because that will stick out. I'm washing my bedding. I've never done that once in my life. So luckily it was all beer piss, so it didn't stain things. This is getting a little gross, but it did. So I'm like, I took the longest, saddest shower, really had a real talk with myself in there. And then I'm like, I think I might have pulled this off. And it's 6 o'clock. My buddy's at my place, so he's picking me up to probably just relive what we did the night before. And my mom knows him. He's a longtime friend since we're kids, and we're chatting with my mom. My mom's like, Nathan, what happened in your bed last night? It was soaked. I'm like, oh, no. Is she, like, fucking with me? She has to know what happened. But I'm like, Mom, I got to break it to you. I peed the bed last night. Played it off as a joke, and she bought, that's girl, what'd you really do? I was like, I spilled some water. That bed was wet from the top to the bottom. Was I drinking a fucking bird bath? How much water was I drinking? It soaked through the goddamn box spring. That shows the kind heart of a mom will believe that kind of fucking cock and maybe story.
Oh my God.
Dad's got hang the mattress over the goddamn fucking snow fence, let it air out. That son of ours sure likes to spill water. He's grumbling the whole time. Fucking smells like piss.
Here's my assumption. You didn't pull one over on your ma. Your ma knew and didn't want to say anything.
I have a story for another time that turns out that she totally didn't know. Because fast forward 3 or 4 years, and I am like 21, 22. I have a cousin that's graduating high school. And as you know, in a small town, the grad party is the social event of the year for high school kids to get drunk and fall asleep in a field. And my brother sheepishly asked my mom, he's a junior at the time, hey, can I stay over at the grad party? My mom's like, no, you make sure you get home. I'm sure you'd be fine. Gives him the speech, and all well-meaning stuff. And he sadly walks away. And I'm usually not one to stand up for him, especially back then. I was like, hey, Mom, Jesus Christ, it's grad party. I didn't say Jesus Christ for my mom. But I was like, hey, Mom, it's grad party. It's not like he's a hell rage. Why don't you let him? Say, well, I know, but you never really did stuff like that until you were like a senior. I was like, hold on a second. And I thought we were like joking. I was like, oh, Mom, I was shithouse again. Didn't use those words nearly every Friday. And the look of sadness and confusion. So now I'm in full damage control. I'm backpedaling like fucking a cornerback, like, no. Hey, just jokes, just fun. And the cat was out of, I felt so terrible.
Man.
Shout out to my mom for thinking the best of me.
I'm of the assumption that none of us ever pulled shit over on our parents. They always knew, and where we just think we're smarter than we are. But maybe not. Apparently, you're the one who was able to pull some shit.
I think denial is just a powerful thing.
Yes, I think that's part of it.
So they are on the bus, and look at the crusty Jesus. Sometimes these segues get a little so long, my screen dies out from lack of use. No,
you gotta come to like, what were we fucking talking about?
So fast forward, Bart is on the bus. He has a very ominous feeling, which Lisa announces Bart is not feeling well. He's having a bad day, so no one bother him. So of course, like chumming the waters with kids, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and sure enough, there's now a gremlin on the side of the bus, ripping at the wiring, tearing up the sides, and Bart sees it. He freaks out. No one sees it. They're like, Bart, what the fuck? There's no gremlin. And now the gremlin is back. It's taken off the lug nuts. Well, that's not what you want in a bus. You prefer to have all 4 tires bolted down. And Milhouse finally is like, yeah, I'm going to, because Bart's like, you believe me. You're my best friend. You believe me, right? He's like, I'm going to go sit somewhere else. He goes and sits with the German kid, which I hadn't seen the German kid in a hot minute.
Yep.
He's like season 1 caliber. He's got his fucking lederhosen with his weird European snacks, which in like Northern Europe, their candy bars are more salt than sugar, which is baffling to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got in a Secret Santa, I got a collection of like gas station snacks from Norway. It's all salt. The weirdest shit, man. Yeah. Treat yourself. You know, we got the internet now. You can get snacks from around the globe. So salty you can't eat it. I mean, apparently they can, because they wouldn't sell it if they didn't. But yeah,
one of the snacks that German exchange student whose name I forget has is, I forget what it's called. It's like Jim or something like that. Yeah, and it says with iodine.
Yeah. One of the snacks I had was one of those iodine-based snacks too. Yeah, so
wait, that's real? They put iodine in food?
That's a real thing, buddy.
Well, this is America. They put poison in everything. I shouldn't be surprised.
We're weirdly tight about some things in America. Yeah, it's like Subway just announced that they can no longer call their bread in other countries because it's so full of plastic, probably. But
because it's just a yoga mat with meat in between, quote unquote meat in between.
So the gremlin, again, there's a good gag where Otto is one of the kids staring out the window looking for it. It's like, who's driving the bus, man? It's like,
oh, yeah, wait. Yeah, Otto's so great.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's more of that. And finally, the wheel's about to come off, and Bart realizes he has to act. He's convinced Gunter, I think his name is, to untie the ropes that they have now tied him to his bus seat with. And he goes for the emergency flares, which are missing. And the bullies have put in Martin's jacket pocket.
Yeah, which they have the flares in his pocket.
And a great touch, he grabs them and then puts one back. He's also a bully, juvenile delinquent at heart. And he opens the window, which is something that happens, I think, in the movie. Like, something's a huge calamity on the plane. And for some reason, the bus is going so fast that everyone is, like, getting sucked out that window nearly. And he's trying to scare off the gremlin with the flare, and he succeeds. He starts the gremlin on fire, and it rolls off in front of Ned's car. Ned Flanders picks it up, swaddles it. Look at it, kind of reaching to slash my face. And just like in Twilight Zone, he is being committed to an insane asylum. Well, he's like, I saved us all. And they put him in the back of the loony bin, and then he sees the gremlin. A very nice touch, kind of spooky even, holds up the Ned Flanders head, and it talks to Bart. Like, it's like, that was like, for going for scares, that was a nice ending.
That was good. I really like that one. I really like that Shatner episode of Twilight Zone. A couple of notes on this one. I didn't write down who says it, but someone in this episode refers to someone else as a blouse-wearing poodle walker, which I thought was a wonderful insult.
I think it was Willie said that to Principal Skinner, possibly.
That sounds right. I'd believe that.
For some reason, the bus is full of adults.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of adults on the bus. Yeah. Blouse-wearing poodle walker, I really liked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Another note on this one, as we've brought up a couple of times before, the voice of the gremlin is motherfucking Frank Welker from Transformers again, showing up to voice someone who doesn't have lines.
Yeah.
It's baffling to me why they keep hiring Frank Welker to
just Fox money.
to just make sounds. He just makes gremlin little growls before he voiced a pony who didn't talk.
Yeah.
Like, Frank Welker, get that money. But
oh my God,
it's so bizarre.
Yeah. So the final of the three is Bart Simpson's Dracula, because at the time, we're a couple years after Bram Stoker's Dracula was in the theater.
Is that
they're definitely going for
Coppola
that
one?
Yeah, is Coppola, that sound right? Where because they're totally
Keanu?
going for that. Yeah, with Winona Ryder possible. I've never seen it.
I never have either.
Movies.
I just know of it because it's
like
apparently
hair,
bad.
Yeah. Like Mr. Burns has that weird double lump hair thing. One of the characters in that movie has that too.
Okay.
Like Renfield or something like that. So they are invited. The Simpsons are invited to go have dinner at Mr. Burns' place. Old creepy castle. And there's all these suspicious things, like he wants them to wash their necks, that's always peculiar for a dinner date.
Did you watch your necks like he asked?
There is a fire in the Springfield Museum, which is big enough to have an ancient Egyptian wing in it.
Yep.
Yet again, a town with a volunteer fire department has a Smithsonian-level museum.
Oh, man.
So, a lot of old spooky house-type shit, really going for that. And Lisa definitely knows what's up, that something bad's going to happen, that Burns is certainly a vampire. And she's like, hey, Bart, let's go get cleaned up. I spilled blood all over us. And Bart's like, I didn't spill anything. And she just grabs his glass, puts her hand in it, and rubs it down his face.
Yeah, just smears blood on his face.
Yeah. So what happens then is they go walking, looking for a hidden chamber. And they find a hidden chamber, which is just the washer and dryer area, which I thought was nice.
Yep, which, like we've talked about before, if I ever hit it big, I would absolutely have that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And that one is very pragmatic, keep the fucking washer and dryer out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, very, very good thinking on those architects. But then they're walking down this big spiral staircase, and there's a lever on the wall that says Super Fun Time Slide, I think.
Yep.
And Bart cannot resist, and he slides down into I don't know what the term is for where a bunch of dead people or a bunch of vampires hang out in their coffins, but they all arise. And Burns is now down there too, and Bart is now also a vampire.
Yeah, he turns Bart. Lisa escapes and gets back up to the family.
Yeah, so they somehow get home fine. I don't know how they escaped the first time. They're, they only got 5 minutes per each of these, so they don't have a whole lot of time for plot development.
Yep, it just cooks along, these ones.
Yeah, so they're back home. Bart, clearly a vampire, and there's a scene where he's floating in the window with Milhouse. Milhouse come be a vampire, you live forever. Milhouse is yeah, and if you tell at the movie theaters you're a vampire, you get a free fountain soda or something like that. And I think the whole floating vampire in the bedroom window is from Salem's Lot. I don't even know if I've ever seen that movie all the way through. I just think that's a kind of famous scene from it.
No, I haven't either. And it's one of the very few classic Stephen King novels I haven't read.
Yep.
So
nor have I, yeah.
That's a weird blind spot for me.
Any of our horror fans, if I'm spot on with that Salem's Lot, let us know. But Lisa don't want nothing to do with that vampire life. Bart tries to attack her. So they realize that if they want to get Bart back to the lovable Bart that they know and love, that they got to go kill the head vampire. So they sneak around. They're back on that spiral staircase. Of course, Homer also wants to hit the hit the slide lever, and they end up in the area with all the vampires, and they successfully kill Burns Ferratu, or whatever name he's going by in this one, driving that wooden stake through his heart. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. There's a great scene too where they get Lisa away from Bart when Bart tries to bite her. And Grandpa bursts in with a mallet and a stake. We got to kill the boy. It's how did you know he was a vampire? He's a vampire? He runs out terrified.
Yeah, he was just there to kill Bart for no reason.
So, again, they got to fly through the plot of these pretty quick. They killed, they killed Burns. They're back home. Everything's normal. And then Lisa discovers, I can't remember what happens, why she notices that there's one of them, that Bart's still a vampire. Does that ring a bell with you?
Yep, because they didn't kill the actual head vampire.
Yep, they're all vampires but Lisa. They're like flying around the kitchen now. And like, Marge, Mom, you're the head vampire. It's like, don't you think I have a life outside of this house?
Yep.
And you know what? Maybe, not even maybe, is the weirdest fucking end to an episode of this show. Marlin, take it away, because I do not know what to say about that.
They just like laugh and start singing, and it pans back, and they're doing the Peanuts ending. There's a I forget who it is, but there's a Linus, or is it Linus that plays piano?
Schroeder plays the piano.
Schroeder plays the piano.
Santa's little helpers dancing. It starts snowing in the kitchen
inside,
and they're like humming a Christmas carol.
Yep. And as snow falls and they pan back, and it's the Peanuts ending, like the Peanuts Christmas ending.
What the fuck?
No clue. They just.
I mean, I love it. I love weird shit. So go right ahead.
But like, they just punched out. They're just like done and out.
Yeah, I wonder if there was like some strife in the writers' room or something. That seemed real. I mean, I loved it. I love dumb, silly shit. So
that whole episode, or that whole Dracula bit of this episode, I was kind of not super hot on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, because the source material doesn't do a whole lot for me, so that didn't help things.
If you do want some real good Bram Stoker's Dracula content, stand-up comic Kyle Kinane, who, by the way, is my favorite stand-up comic working today, has a series on his YouTube channel called Public Domain with Kyle Kinane, where he is just reading Dracula to the camera. Drinking Coors, awesome. Reading Dracula, and he's having trouble pronouncing everything. It's a real good laugh.
That sounds enjoyable.
Yeah, so Public Domain with Kyle Kinane will not disappoint you.
We did it, Marlin.
We wrapped up another batch, 1 to 5. We got a lot of burns this time in this batch, which I like. I really like that Sideshow Bob episode. I, of course, pretty high on the Treehouse, because I usually am. The next batch we'll be watching are 6 through 10 of season
God, they're going to be
5.
good. I already know they're going to be the shit.
Yeah.
We're at this point.
Of course they are.
This time in next May, we're going to be looking back so fondly at this shit. Maybe we won't even be out of the bad shit by May. We might not be.
I bet we're still in the good shit. Like
we might be at the tail end of the good shit.
So I was talking to a friend last night, and she is the biggest Simpsons fan I know, and her money zone is 5 to 17.
To 17.
That's
awesome.
Which I feel like is a little later than most people.
I would say, yeah.
Like, I always hear like 4 to 12 is usually what I hear, or 4 to 10 sometimes. But that gave me a little hope that the good shit runs longer than I thought it did.
Yeah, that actually makes me happy. Like, yeah.
Yep. Keep it coming.
If you want to reach out to us, let us know what you think the prime Simpson years are.
I would like to know.
I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
Please reach out. Hey, Marlin.
Yay, Nathan.
How do they reach out to us?
They would do that on Twitter by tweeting at us at BarleyBasketUSA, or they can email us barleybasketUSA@gmail.com.
Have we gotten an email yet?
No.
I'm putting that on you, listeners.
We'll get some tweets here and there. We haven't gotten an email yet. The only emails I get on that account are from Reddit. So
I want to get to a point where we can have a PO box and people can send us stupid shit.
Yeah, I'd be into that too.
Let you know right now, I'll send you stupid shit back. Because again, I'm a hoarder. I got stupid shit.
That fucking podcast sent us a bunch of baseball cards.
That's just a bunch of He-Man guy legs.
Just legs.
It's just that broken rubber band that's all worn out in the middle. Holy. I noticed at Walmart they have He-Man guys on sale right now, like some new for 2020 thing. Ooh, it was hard for me not to drop $400 and buy them all.
I think that's precisely what you should have done. If you're looking for somebody to deter you from making bad choices, I'm not the fucking guy.
You're the person I go to when I want someone to help me not feel bad about making poor financial choices.
I will help you justify anything.
Yeah, you know what? I should let you look at my eBay purchase history. You might reach a tipping point.
I doubt it, but maybe. Well, we will be back again next week, season 5, episodes 6 through 10 of The Simpsons.
Tell your friends. Put this on message boards if people still use it. Marlin and I are dolts when it comes to the hip parts of the internet. You know where the good greasy shit is, where all the real Simpsons. Give them a link.
Yeah,
give them a link.
I will admit that if this podcast has a weak spot, it is
social outreach
promotion. Yeah, exactly. Like we're not good at it. I don't have we don't have a Facebook page for the show.
Yeah, that's on me.
I made the Twitter account. I rarely use it, and I should. Like, I'm bad at this.
I know how to use like 3 different things on the internet. It's like Facebook, Craigslist, eBay. You get outside of that, man, I'm fucked. I just truly am. Everything. My head starts to hurt. I get dizzy when I have to think too hard.
Yeah, so we rely on good word of mouth via the internet. So get out there and start using your internet mouth, please.
Yeah, I agree with that. Come on, spread the word. Spread the good word.
I know one simple way you can help is to write a review on iTunes, a good one, preferably. That apparently that helps a lot, like push the show up the whatevers on iTunes. I don't know. I don't know how this, or not even iTunes, Apple Podcasts. See, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
See, I get the fucking sweats thinking about anything Apple-based because I don't understand how any of it works.
Especially apples. Nathan, not a fruit person.
Yeah. Oh, bro, if we ever want to go on a hot take on my love of nectarines, that's a deep dive.
I'm with you. I will fuck up a nectarine.
One time I had to be escorted out of a Cub Foods in Minneapolis because they didn't have one nectarine. Like, you don't have one. You have one. I don't know. I don't want a pickup box trailer full. I want one goddamn. Had a rough day. I like a peach, but I don't like the fuzzy texture. I want a nectarine. It's the best of everything.
Oh God. I do love a nectarine. I've never had security called on me over it.
A big bowl of good, perfectly ripe cherries. Fuck. And I know it's going to give me crippling diarrhea for 12 to 18 hours. I don't give a fuck.
Worth it.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. Big thing of grapes. Remember being a kid and your mom saved a nickel and got the grapes with the seed in it? It was just the biggest form of betrayal you'd felt at that point in your young life.
God damn it, a seed? Really?
What the shit is this? Look at me. Look at me. This is what we're doing now? This is what we're doing now?
Oh, Christ. So, yeah, we'll get some fruit in us, and y'all spread your internet mouth wide open. And what are we even talking
one step
about?
Ahead. Yeah. My legs are getting numb. I've been sitting a long time.
All right, you go get some blood back in your feet before you lose them.
Oh man, that is close to home.
That day is coming, baby.
Yeah. Don't fear the foot reaper, baby.
Watch.
Keep eating them sugary treats.
Watch the next 6 to 10 of season 5, and we'll catch you next week.
See you next week.